Peace. It's your boy. Peace. It's your boy Killer B, the goddamn Witch Rider General. We got Witch. Burn their goddamn asses up. We got a great show for y'all today. We're going to be talking about divination, different types of divination, bone throwing, omens, to dream interpretation. We're going to try to go through it all. We're going to show you divination, how it was used amongst the Israelites in the Bible to interpret dreams and things that are foretold in the future, characteristic of children, and all types of crazy stuff. So, we're going to have Siberius the Sleeping Serpent with me today. So this is going to be a fucking information-packed video. So, make me in for Siberius. I'm going to play this track, and I'll be right back. Wormwood by Josh.
Then the third angel sounded, and a great star fell from heaven, burning like a torch.
No escaping, popular vacation, overrunning bank statement, lacing on pavement. Say man, cataclysm around the corner, what's up before performers, the time corner born, a rhyme technique formed and farm, a swarm of pyrotechnic arms, flaming up the Dutch, the crush handed out and such, till my metal mouth clutch. I'm too sephardic for retarded, carry bags of harvest, brain be the largest, illin', react finger twiddling like some villains, born with my haystay, keep away all naysay, nutty as payday, yet rock of age like Pele, even with these ask Pompeii, sling around you dudes like Harambe, worm goes through Bombay, beyond where the top stay, hey, Oxray, hit harder than Parker Brothers, with my other crushes, names out board games, stutter, sound clearer, with more names, ferocious horse aim, cyclic ore, when the more flow tames, hey man, that's an English river, squeamish to the liver, Phoenix to the river, remix will deliver, active action doses, the way hope poses, ultimate posterizing motives, when I like the right moments, despite the bright moments, and fake star moments, no opponents, they poison in the stomach like some rodents, poison the flies, oceans brother, and rock weekends like Usher, remove clutter from Trump borders, and send in professionals on orders to bring back your freedom, y'all too busy, missing like Liam Neeson, vanished without a trace, to outer inner space, fountain spouter when erased, and face the camp like Jason, who worship Vishnu, yo, rock cloak, roll purple too, window, heard a fool, with cool points, sorry that's annoying, I'm still reaching out to Christ for the joint, over the pig, 2 points, hey, alright, fuck that shit. Yeah, fuck those fools who use the food to waste lives of innocent. Have them repent and bow low. How about those taste sediment like 8 rows, hate clothes, I'm rocking with fervor. Time to take the verdict from moving first. The sons of Herschel better take back their hurdles. Find myself, rolls up like turtles, folks step off like girls. Gear cats found, rip off journals, dice verses from winning purses. Thirsties, one of language, using human language as a bridge to Cambridge. Then invent new payment like Vatican strangers. Into the door of strangers, food. Evacuate time, cry out, go and move. Or man chew, syndicate late night, Fu Manchu. Alright?
It fell on a third of the rivers and on the springs of water. The name of the star is Wormwood. A third of the waters became wormwood.
What's up, y'all? What's up? What's going on with Siberius?
Nothing much, brother. Thank you for having me on once again.
Yeah. Always a pleasure. If you can come it on, man. Shit. I'm going right now. Wait. You always make it happen.
Yeah.
We talking about.
I tell you what, it's a little hard to hear you though, Killer. I don't know if you could speak into the mic more or
always sitting far away from you. All right.
you gotta get up on that thing.
Yeah, make it happen. So we're gonna be talking about divination, different types of divination, omens. Once again, make sure you guys go check out that omens video inside Siberius did a while back.
Hell yeah, I got a lot of crazy shit to talk about tonight. It's gonna get nuts.
That was the thing. I guess you were kind of shocked that I picked that topic.
Yeah. Well,
Gotcha.
versus the other topic, you know, it's where you're talking about want to do about the Goetia, but this topic is much more practical and much more real life.
Right.
You know, in the different channels I can take the conversation. It's very hands on. You know, and I think that's what the people really want to know.
Yeah. Yup. Yeah. Hands on. Yeah. Shit. You got a text P telling here. So that's some computer issues.
Mm.
Get it going. So you get some more people. You got nobody in here, but I ain't really sure shit yet. Subscribers usually down. Okay. Yeah. Before we get started, this is about some shit about to get down with old boy. Just to get that out of the way real quick.
What's that?
There's some shit going down right now. Shit. So I'll fill you in on that later. I don't really want to script.
Okay. All right. Word up.
Yeah,
Word up.
Heads up. I got another video coming tomorrow morning. Great.
Uh-oh, back to your old ways, huh?
Yup.
Hell yeah.
Yep. You gotta get them one way.
Them videos get a lot more fucking views, man. People don't care about the fucking truth. They just want to see that damn trifling ass drama shit.
Yup.
They love it. They love it.
Crazy, right? That's crazy.
Huh?
Sometimes that shit be hurt my feelings and shit. But you know, that's just it's so good. That shit be hurt my damn feelings. I was like, God damn, I'm trying to show y'all something and shit. Y'all
I know, man, but you put some trifling that shit out, you get fucking hella views.
Hell yeah.
What the fuck? That just shows you the nature of the beast, man. That's all that is.
Yeah. Yep. That's all it is. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right about that shit.
Give them blood and they will love you for it. Just like in goddamn Gladiator.
Yep. Yeah, man. That shit is crazy. It is what, like I said, it is what it is. Yep. I put up that fuckery shit, the motherfuckers is coming. Right
it
there.
beats like that sometimes.
Yep. Right there. So shit. So let's just put the damn thing on there.
Yeah, I saw the fuck around gang. They doing some live streams right now.
Yeah.
Talking about some hoe shit as usual.
Yep. That's what they do. Damn, I gotta get this damn thing here.
We're over here talking about some real shit. Y'all want to know some motherfucking real shit?
Yeah, tune the people in for let the people know who you are again. For some people that come in, I'm not sure and stuff. While I get this thing shared out, so I'm gonna add some more shares to the thing. It's gonna be hard for me to talk and do this at the same time. Yeah. So, what type of divination would you say like you specialize in? You hear me? Oh, he dropped off. Put the link back up in there. Oh, he's back.
Hey, bring me back. There you go. Sorry, man. I accidentally hit the leave button. My bad. That was my bad. That's my bad all the way there. But I heard your question. What type of divination do I specialize in?
Yeah.
So my favorite form of divination is cards. I like cards. And I like using regular old playing cards. I don't use a tarot deck. I use the numbers and the suits.
How would those vary? It's sort of different from like say tarot cards, or is there any other type of card divination?
Just there's so many different types of tarot decks, and they have their numbers and their archetypes and their symbols. I don't really use I guess when you're using playing cards, you're still using the numbers and the symbols, but the archetypes aren't as diverse. It's a simplified archetype, as far as the Joker, the King, the Queen, the Jack, the Ace. Your archetypes are very simplified, and the numbers, to me, their essence is very cosmic, but I apply that cosmic reality of that number into whatever situation I'm divining for.
Huh.
That's something that I can't even really I'd have to like just do a video and show y'all, you know, like maybe the next divination I do for someone, I'll record it and y'all can see some real shit.
Okay.
Because what's crazy is, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
My divinations here lately, man, they pop off so strong that like people, it kind of shakes people a little bit, you know.
Yeah.
Like I'm so good with it, that even when people try to hide stuff from me, my cards pulls it right out of them.
Wow.
Yeah, and I'm just gonna have to prove that, you know, which I'm pretty good at doing. I'm gonna have some receipts for you. Just make sure the video plays next time.
Yeah, right.
God damn. I'm still blown out about that a little bit. We got to fix that. But
Yeah, you did.
but yeah. But nah, man, I'm gonna fucking bring that motherfucking receipt for y'all. I'm gonna have a video. It's gonna be a real live person. It's gonna be some real shit.
I have a not like a sample divination like reading that someone like I guess they wanted to show like how it would like go with like their if they did a reading for somebody like how it would go and how it's explained. And stuff.
Yeah.
I learned today like the different like bone divination.
Yeah.
How different things are told and stuff by the bones. So that was something that kind of confused me.
Right. So rune divination is a very awesome form of divination. I have a rune set, and I have a clear quartz. It's a clear quartz rune set. You know what I said about quartz the other night, that it's sort of the end all be all. You know, whatever vibe you put in it is the vibe that's going to resonate.
Right.
So that's why I chose a quartz set. But I don't use it as much as I should, honestly.
Okay.
But I know I could pick it up and really throw some shit down. I think that when it comes to throwing bones, like I know that your thumbnail is bones. You know, I think that is a more deeper form of divination than just cards. You know, I can get the same message across, but I wouldn't just throw the bones down like I'd throw the cards down. And at least that's my personal opinion. Someone might have a different opinion, and I would be totally cool with that. But if I'm throwing bones down, which I don't have any bones per se, I actually have a stone set. Whenever I went to Wisconsin, and I went on the banks of, I think it was like one of them big lakes up there. I don't remember which lake it was. Lake Michigan, I think. Is Lake Michigan touching Wisconsin? Anyways,
Really? I don't think they do this. Wait, Wisconsin? I don't know. That's a good question. This shit.
yeah, whichever big ass motherfucking lake is touching Wisconsin, that's the one I was. That's where I was at, and I collected a bunch of stones that were on the bank. The stones on the bank of those Great Lakes, there's so many different varieties, and the reason is because back in the Ice Age, these great giant fucking glaciers pulled these stones from the earth and drug them across the earth. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And then they've been on the banks of this giant fucking lake for thousands and thousands of years, and they're like super smooth. But so I have a bunch of bigger rocks, but I have it's like a pebble set. You know what I'm saying? But they're extremely unique. Like one rock looks like it has an eye. One rock is red mottled with black. Like there's some crazy stones. They're crazy looking, and I'm pretty good with those. Pretty good with those. But not as good as the cards, because the cards is what I use the most. It's the easiest on hand. If I forget my deck of cards, I can always go to any old fucking CVS or Dollar General and get another set of cards, you know?
Right.
Which is cool. It's very convenient.
How accurate or how easy it is, and what type of things can you use divination for?
I think you can use divination for everything. One thing that I like to do is I like for the question to be extremely specific. And what's crazy is here's how it goes with me. All right, and I'll like I said, I'll make a video of this in the future. Whenever I do a divination for someone, I do a 4-card spread. I only lay 4 cards on the table. So what I do is I'll shuffle them real good, and I'll have the client cut the deck in half. Okay, however way they want to do it, I don't even care how they do it. Doesn't matter. All right, and then I will lay the cards down face down. Okay, and then after that, so the cards are in front of us. Then after I've laid the cards down, I tell them to ask the question and be specific. Now, the reason that I have them ask the question after I lay the cards down is a form of confirmation. We already talked on the last episode about the law of observation.
Right.
So before the question is asked, whatever number in suit is under those cards that are laid down, it doesn't fucking matter. Okay? I don't count cards neither. I like to know. I'm just as clueless as the other person because of observation. You don't want to observe. You don't want to know what the card is.
Right.
Okay? So once that question is asked, magically, in the realest sense, the fucking numbers change in order to portray the message for me to read to the client in the spiritual language that I have developed from the cards that the spirits that I work with, whatever energy I'm working with, knows how to speak through my intuition in order to portray the message that is unknown to the client. Okay?
Yeah.
So the numbers, in my opinion, because they are not being observed and you cannot differentiate one card from the rest of the entire deck, those fucking numbers change into whatever numbers they need to be right there, right before their eyes. Okay. And then, and then let's go deeper. So my first card is, and I tell the client this too. After they ask the question, I tell the client this too. I'll say this before I flip the cards over. This card is the card of the past represented by the element water, which represents emotion. The middle card, or the second card, this represents the present, represented by the element of earth, also represented by the physicality, the now, the here, the matter, what you can feel.
Okay.
The third card is the card of the mind, represented by the element of wind, which is also the future card. But now this card is tricky because we can't change the past and we're living in the now. But just like everyone hears the saying, now what you're about to hear is straight from me. Okay, this is Doctrine of Siberius 101. This is all me right here.
All
okay,
right.
I've never heard anyone else say this shit. You've heard the saying, the winds of change?
Yes, I heard that saying before.
Okay, all right. So, just like the winds of change, the fucking future card that I haven't flipped over yet, that shit represents the future that the client wants. Either it's good or it's bad. I've seen people wish themselves death, and that card would represent death. I've seen people, and I know it, and I tell them, I said, you fucking made this happen. What are you thinking right now? They're like, yeah, I just foresee death in my future. I said, God damn, that's a fucking glass half empty fucking outlook on life if there ever was one. Okay? So that card is very very changeable. Okay? That card represents what the person wants. Okay? And then the fourth card represents what you're supposed to do about it in order for that future card to come to fruition, represented by the element of fire, represented by the will, your willpower. Okay. Now we just went through all 4 elements. The fifth card is the client, represented by the spirit, energy. And that's how I do my divination.
Is there any other types of divination that you use?
Not really, to be honest with you, because I'm so fucking cold with the cards. It's like, you know, I have done it. I've thrown stones and stuff like that, and I've dabbled with runes, but I'm so cold with the cards. You know, when it comes to doing root work for people, I hit them with the cards because I'm just so good with it. You know.
Okay. Malik Young said yes, your message is so true. I use thanks Malik Young too for stopping by. I use a deck of cards to do my morning divinations. I had created my own system. Magic is about actually being in alignment with your intuition.
There you go. I couldn't have said it better. That's right.
Yep. What up, Nkosi? Nkosi up in the building.
Hell yeah. What's up, Nkosi?
Yeah, man. So
big neck dog.
You got Neggy
big
dog.
Neck dog's in the house.
Yes, it's loud, Neggy. Like Neggy got that Hebrew fonts and stuff on his computer now and stuff. So you can type
what does that say, Neggy? What's good with it?
Yeah, that's Shalom. That's Shalom.
Oh, that means what's good with it. Okay.
Yep. And that's any of you guys want to come in? Talk with it?
Okay, come on.
Yeah, come on in, y'all. I got a cool little book that goes over different types of divination. I also got a journal article on divination and how it was used in the Bible, different characters and stuff like that.
Right.
It was used in, like, for one, with the story with Jacob and Esau. I know we talked about that and stuff.
Yeah.
Big dog in the building. What up, nigga?
Big neck dog.
Hey, shalom, guys. How you guys doing?
Chilling, man. Chilling.
Pretty good, man. How about yourself?
I'm doing all right. I just woke up and couldn't go back to sleep, so I thought I'd jump on.
I wish I could go to bed as early as you, baby. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because
on this channel.
Yeah, it's funny because one of the things that I plan on doing is I'm going to be making videos all the time, so maybe I won't be able to, but yeah.
I figured you'd be over there at the other side stream right now talking about some hoe shit.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
I'm gonna let it out the bag and shit. I'm gonna let it out the bag so we can get over it with it. I don't want to talk about that motherfucker. I'm gonna burn ass up in the morning though. Let's see. I guess him and the Hadassah got in another beef. Another beef.
Oh wait, what? I mean, I knew they've had their issues, but yeah, that's.
Yeah, him and Hammerhead are at it now. She said, that Judah's mad because he got turned down and shit.
Oh, he got turned down?
Yeah, by Hadassah. So we already know what's coming next. We already started. And they got somebody over there with my name and shit. Using
Yeah, I saw that. I thought it was you because they was trolling.
Yeah, no, that wasn't me.
Damn.
That probably was Shami out.
This some petty ass hoe shit over there, man. Let's get back on topic.
Let's get back on this shit. Yeah, and how in the scriptures they were using dream interpretation, casting lots. They're hey, what's up, Loki? They were scrying.
Big dog.
They was what was the other thing that they were doing? The with omens with children. So you know how they were coming up with all these children's names like when they were born, but it was based off of the things that they did and the characteristics that they had and the things that were going on like before they got born, right after they got born, determine the outcome of their lives or what they're here on this earth to do.
Yeah,
you know, these things were sought out, and you know what I mean. And I guess you could say like applied and used wisely within the people for certain outcomes that happen. You know what I mean? Like, say for instance, like with Jesus, right? He was born, and they knew
Right.
to get the fuck out of Dodge and shit for, like, you know what I mean, for the motherfuckers kill him. So they left, they came back, you know what I mean, and like they had dreams and hey, what's up, Loki?
Big dog Loki.
How do I change my picture on here?
Hit that little 3 dots next to your speaker symbol.
Big Balak is in the house.
Yep. So I got
Big dog.
with bones. Could you explain how things are interpreted with bones?
Well, I think just like with the cards, you have to have your own spiritual language with the bones. You know, what does it mean to you? Because everyone's going to have different interpretations. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So it's kind of like I think, therefore I am. What's true? What you believe is true for you in your own personal universe.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's sort of where I'm going with that. Okay, and the energies that you work with, they're going to know this through your intuition, like our boy Malik was talking about. So then you got to look at it like this. Okay, there's a lot of people out here that get into witchcraft and things of this nature, and they got like bone starter sets. It's not just bones, got shells and all kind of different stuff.
Right.
Okay, but me, you know, I wouldn't have nothing like that. I mean, I guess I've already started it with those stones from one of the Great Lakes, you know.
Right.
But every single piece of that has to mean something to me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I feel like, you know, the deeper the connection, the better the interaction, and that's just like with anything. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's especially with like relationships between men and women. You know, the deeper the connection, the better it's going to be. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Which is what I'm all about, especially when it comes to spiritual things and how, you know, I haven't worked with that many spirits because I build bonds with these spirits. You know, like I ain't really jumping on a lot of other people's channels. I like jumping on your channel, Killer, because you're putting the effort out there to have me on. That's fucking dope. I can respect that and I can get with that. You know what I'm saying? And it's the same concept, you know, whether it's the jawbone from a dog that I fucking loved for 15 years, you know, or, you know, I actually, what's crazy is I just found it's like a little log. The guy that we all grew up with around here, he was the first one of us to start a tree service, and he died coming home from Colombia drunk in a car accident. And when we went to his funeral, they gave us like a little one of them little log pieces with his initials written on it. And I found it the other day after like 5 years.
Oh shit.
You know, so that would be a piece that I would put into something like that. It has to mean something for me. I'm not one of these people that go get a fucking starter kit, you know, which is what I did my research and I saw a lot of starter kits and shit. That's just kind of, you know, and I'm not saying that starter kits won't work because it's just a tool at the end of the day. But I feel like if the pieces meant something to you and there was some sort of sacrifice in order to obtain these pieces, I feel like the information would be deeper and more thorough.
Oh, Loki. Yeah, my bad, Loki. Malak, what's up, Malak? He's a.
How are y'all?
Yeah, I be slaughtering your last name, but he
Howdy, partner.
was Bibio next. We actually look up. Yeah, I can look at it. Yeah. Really, Oh, okay. Okay, damn, that's deep. I never even knew that was such a thing. Holy shit. Okay,
Yes.
divination. Divination is the use of books in divination, the method of employing sacred books for magical medicine, for removing negative energies, and for divination widespread. Foretelling the future by interpreting a random chosen passage from a book, especially the Bible. So basically, that's like opening up the Bible. And you know what? I have done that. I have done that. And I mean, a lot of people probably have done that. Like just opening up the book and like say you got an issue or whatever, and you just open up the book and the first thing you read, you know what I'm saying, sometimes hits right on that subject.
Right. Oh yeah, I think everyone's done that.
I got something I wanted to read.
So tonight you guys are talking about divination, bone readings, tarot cards, and stuff.
Yeah,
that's a good subject. It's a really good subject. I like that.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, feel free to.
He gave me the choice, and I was like, oh man, we got your divination.
Yep.
You know what's funny? Right before, cause see, I think I need to turn on the bell on your channel, Killer B, because for some reason I'm not getting the notifications to your live stream. So I'm probably gonna check see if the bell is hit. But right before I came in here, I was just looking up what the word mystic meant, and it's actually, when people think of like, what do you call it, divination, they think of psychics, and they think of the stuff seeing into the future. We think of something like it's usually basic, you know what I mean?
Right.
And I guess what a mystic means is, this is my whole point on like divination and stuff like that. It takes a certain amount of surrender in order to understand what people are going through and where they are coming from. For example, I've done tarot readings where literally I could just look at the cards and I could tell what was going on by experience and surrender to what's going on and understand.
Okay. You're just saying. Damn, I lost my damn thought. Shit. What you mentioned when you first started speaking?
I can add on to that. Yeah, that's I experienced the same thing, Lucky. And I want to ask you a question. Whenever the cards read some shit that maybe isn't so good, do you just break it to them cold, or do you dance around it and try to soften it up?
Like I've said before, my specialty is what I've told you my specialty is before, but
right.
I really underestimate my ability to read the cards, because can I say something really quick?
Sure.
I've never read a book on how to read tarot cards, and I just kind of did it naturally by looking at the cards.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, but you have your own personal interpretations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well,
I mean, yeah, of course, yeah.
Well, when the cards say something bad, do you just hit them with the cold hard facts, or do you?
Oh, of course. I feel like that's the problem with a lot of tarot readers out here and stuff. Not picking on any organization, not like picking on any style of person, but what you're going to get from the cards sometimes is not always what you want to hear, and sometimes like I've actually paid people to do readings for me, and I've actually just like, what, I've left because I was like, what, fuck this, keep your $5.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
people, what they'll do is they'll read tarot cards and shit for what do you call it? Gifts and diamonds and clout and popularity on certain apps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I can't stand the person that does a tarot reading, then they basically just read you what the description of
you're gonna meet your
that
soulmate
card.
very soon. Things are just gonna work out okay.
This card means New beginnings.
That's usually what I hear. If
Yeah.
something that's on that, and like that's usually exactly what I hear. Exactly. Like,
They've memorized the description and they're lightly applying it to your life. They don't know. They're not divinators.
right.
You know, someone like myself, shit gets real personal real quick. People get uncomfortable, you know.
And I always,
But in order for the work to go down, this is shit I have to know. It's like, you know, it's just like going to a doctor or an attorney. They have to know the fucking information, even if it's personal.
right. Yeah, even if it hurts your feelings. Yep.
Yeah, you know, because you know, I did one not long ago, and the card was some shit that I didn't want to. I felt bad to fucking say it, but I sort of, you know, through my gift of gab, of course, and my psychology, I sort of made her say it for me, so I could just. I mean, I was being a pussy, you know, but fuck, man, and it wasn't someone. It wasn't the girl I did the work on. It was someone else.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, damn.
You tell them the truth, get a motherfucking like, fuck you, bitch.
I made her tell it. I made her tell me the truth that I already knew from the card.
Right.
Yeah. You know, I fished it out of her. You know.
You ever done a reading like where you pull out the cards and stuff for the person, and you just say some shit like, "It looks like, you know, like you just got out of a relationship, and now like what do you call it? There's a court case going on, or some abuse or some shit." You ever just come up with like a wild guess when you've read the cards, and all of a sudden it was true? Because
Yeah,
I feel
all
like,
the
okay,
time.
as a divinator, I'm not 100% sure, but if you know, like I said, when you put yourself at that, you know, point of surrender, you know, and shit like that to the higher powers, because see, you're kind of putting your magical energy into the reading, and isn't that just crazy? Like if you got into that experience where you just go through a wild guess like that.
Well, you know, I think the wild guess is more or less trusting. It's a great tool for trusting your intuition. You know, it may from your mind to your mouth be a wild guess, but you feel that shit. You know what I'm saying? Or you wouldn't have said it, especially when it's extremely specific. And yeah, actually, I pulled cards and been like, all right, what are you fucking hiding? There's a fucking dude involved. Like, who's this dude? And they're like, oh my god, how did you know that? You know?
I want to switch it up a little bit. I have heard people talk about divination through fire and using, say, a candle for divination with like a plate, like letting the soot from the candle accumulate on the bottom of the tape of the plate, and getting divination through that. And also, I want you guys to speak on divination through possession.
That's funny you say that, divination through possession. You said correct, right?
Yep.
You know, it's funny because, you know, like for example, I would drink mead, you know, which is basically like a Nordic thing. And, you know, when I would moderate myself on the mead, because see, if you drink mead too fast, you will get a stomach ache because it's, you know, sugar, it's honey, it's really thick.
Yeah.
And, you know, I've made the mistake where I've chugged the mead too much, you know, but then like when I was just, you know, enjoying it, you know, like I have a glass, you know, like every other night or every night, just one glass.
Yeah.
I was actually starting to see shit clearer and stuff like that. So I feel like we can also take certain substances as well, you know, herbs, you know, going along with the candles in order to divinate and see into what we need to see.
Yeah, I take herbs.
Yeah.
Yeah, herbs. Okay.
There's
Yeah.
And
speaking
speaking of that really,
you know,
speaking of that really,
yeah.
Speaking of that really quick, there is something you can do with tea leaves. Anything where you have like
definitely.
random things that can arrange in a pattern. That's one way you can. Yeah, that's what this is all about.
Yeah,
It's
that's
about
definitely a form of divination.
Yep.
Yeah, it's about interpreting random patterns.
Right. There was a type of divination I wanted to show tonight. In Africa, where they use a bowl and they inscribe things going around the bowl. And then there's a seed that's put in the bowl of water, and depending on where the seed points, that determines like. Let me see if I can put that.
I mean, that does sound kind of neat, and that's also a random pattern that isn't quite, that is divination though.
Right here. So this would be the bowl, like what's written around the bowl. And then the seed or cowrie shell, whatever that's floating in the water, and it would put it to different things. You guys see that?
That's a badass image right there.
Yeah, it is.
Cotton, dye, homegrown, danger, sea warden, seasons. Spoke on the.
I bring up a subject about divination. I know that everyone here would love to talk about. How about the divination of entrails from sacrificed animals?
I was gonna get on that too. Yep. All right, what can you tell us about that?
To be honest, I've actually never heard that.
Oh yeah, I've
heard a lot of stuff, but I never heard that. You learn something new every day.
I've never really done it. As a kid, whenever I would kill deer and stuff and rabbits and stuff when I go hunting, before I was an occultist, I saw when you dump the guts out of an animal that you're cleaning, you see that it forms into a pattern that you can interpret in any fashion that you see fit, just like a bag of bones or some fucking rocks or some runes or whatever, So I've actually never done it, but that is a thing. You ever seen the movie Year One with Jack Black?
Nah.
What?
Nah, I've never seen that.
Well, the fucking high priest is like big gay motherfucker, and he's reading the entrails from a cow. It's hilarious. You can check it out.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. I've heard of that because the Romans used to do it. They used to do it to determine different things during the year.
That's funny too. You and me, Siberius, we've talked about astrology before.
Right.
We've obviously, touched on, how it's real and how it's fake. We keep it at a minimum, you know what I mean? Without getting too complicated into things. And,
That's right.
Speaking of the Romans, like, for example, if you were a Scorpio, you would be like a Capricorn, obviously, in the Roman calendar.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And I touched on that the other day, kind of like how the sidereal and the tropical go hand to hand. And it's, maybe, predicting things with astrology, that is not something that's easy. But I feel like a lot of the reasons that I was so good at doing tarot card readings for a while is because of my extensive research on astrology.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Hell yeah.
Even though I still to this day cannot figure out how to use planetary predictions. I can just, like when I see a transit, on my mobile app or something like that, I'm just like, oh, fuck, it's going to go on for this long.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
or
that's you've definitely gotten deeper into that than I have. I've always, sort of went by the symbolism of the planets and what sort of frequencies correlate with other things, you know. But you've definitely gotten deeper into that than I have.
Yeah. You like, for example, Siberius, I had a Scorpio friend, and
Uh-huh.
you're Scorpio, right, Siberius?
That's right. Yes, sir.
He would always ask me, kind of like you know what I mean? Like, you seen this movie? Have you seen that movie? And you know, like, I'd be like, no, I didn't see that movie. He'd be like, what? Yeah, he kind of had that same thing. So I'm not
Yeah. I
saying
said the
that
same
every
shit.
single person who's a Scorpio are the same, but it seems very, you know, what do you call it? You know, relevant. Like in some
Uh-huh.
cases it's not, you're not true by your sun sign. So yeah, I would say I got deeper into the subject, like studying the planets and all that. Yeah.
Yeah. That's funny. Yeah. And Scorpios too. Well, here's another crazy thing. Either like when it comes to other Scorpios, either I hate them or I love them.
I
Maybe
feel
that's a
like what it's,
Scorpio
you
thing.
know, like, because I guess, you know, I'm the expert on the astrology part here.
Right.
Some Scorpios just don't understand each other.
Right.
Yeah, they respect each other, but they don't necessarily understand each other.
Yeah. Well, Killer, I told you I couldn't stay up too late, man. I do got to get up super early in the morning. But I'm gonna let you guys have it. Unfortunately, I wish I could stay up, but I got a lot of shit to do tomorrow.
Yep, no
All
doubt.
right, all right. See ya, man.
Yeah,
I'll
Shalom.
talk
man.
to you later,
So y'all,
Siberius. Peace out,
yeah,
man.
man,
Be
for
good.
sure, for sure. So y'all, yeah, I'm gonna let y'all have it. Peace out.
Yeah,
All
thanks a
right,
lot.
yeah. See ya.
Yeah, so I want to read this real quick. It's talking about different types of
Alright.
divination. It says, oh, I can start from there. I started from here. Shit, man. Fuck it. Let's go. It jumped off to the spot that I had. Damn. It's crazy. Um,
Are you trying to get it on the screen?
yeah, I was trying to find it. Oh, I found it.
Alright.
It said all divination falls into two main types. One with the Roman statesman Cicero called it in technos is the type that can be taught and is perhaps the most common form. The shaman, seer, diviner, speaker either generates that which is to be interpreted by such methods as throwing down objects, filtering, burning them, laying them out, as in cartomancy, or moving them, or observes and interprets existing phenomena such as the actions of birds and animals. The other type is what Cicero calls hypnos and addictactos, some shit that which cannot be taught. The shaman or other individuals is apparently possessed, entering a state of ecstasy or trance in which he or she is able to divine the future. Often the diviner has no control over when possession will take place. Frequently, this state is looked upon as a form of madness. There are many, many forms of divination. Sort of the drawing or casting of lots was and remains one of the most common methods. Another is interpreted of the flight of birds, the marks on the shells of the tortoise, or the course taken by spiders. Cartomancy is reading of playing cards and other very popular form of divination, with approximately 250 different tarot card decks available today. The reading of the tarot is more popular than ever before. Divination was referred in the Bible. Divination is referred to in the Bible. Joseph sees visions as a child in Genesis 37, and later refers to strong. This cup, in the scripture said, this cup in which my Lord drinketh, and whereby indeed he divided. Genesis 44 and 5 says the Urim and the Thummim were devices used by the high priest in ascertaining the will of God. Exodus 28 and 30. Some forms of divination are well known to Western civilization, such as tarot cards, the Chinese I Ching, crystal gazing, astrology, and palm reading. Less well known are the unique methods employed by indigenous peoples who have been relatively influenced by modern Western cultures. In the vast continent of Africa, I found many such people whose form of divination, usually performed by a shaman, have been used for divination generations for success. It goes in, they're going to talk about different types of divination, the Zulu, the Yoruba, the Venda, the Picard, the Fan, and other people of Africa. But I had another article too. It talked about the different ways that people use divination and stuff that in the Bible. One is like the Urim and Thummim. They said there's really nobody actually knows exactly what it is and how it was used. But
Well, you wanna know what the name means? The name Urim and Thummim?
I did know, but I think it was like, wasn't it kind of like speculated on the name of it or something?
The first word Urim is actually light.
Oh, it's lights and something. What was Thurman? I know that it had names.
Yeah, lights and revelations.
Huh.
So
like,
what this was is sort of it's something small because where it was kept was a little pocket on the priest's garment. So it wasn't something big. It was something that he could carry around and take out, and then whatever he did with it allowed him to get an answer.
right. And we was
And that's
taught in the school, like school, that there were stones.
I do want to say this though. One thing about astrology is the way our ancestors 2,000 years ago is, not the same as basically how they started doing astrology from the 14th century and up.
Huh.
Like, for example, the clock. I explained this actually on one of my videos before, astrology and all that, like we use the clock for modern day astrology just as much as we use the telephone. So when you go back to that one thing, like divination is something that basically like we don't understand. We really don't understand the secrets that our ancestors did 2,000 years ago with astrology and astronomy.
Right. The thing with like the clock. Could you explain? I kind of got an idea, but I would like you to speak on
Wait, what?
how you use, like you was talking about the clock.
Yeah.
Could you like tell us a little bit like how the clock will be used, like in dealing with like astrology? Is that what you're saying?
Well, yeah. They've actually used astrology. Like for example, when you go online, for example, to websites, like Astro Charts, Astro Theme, and all that. You type in the exact time that you came out of your mother's womb. Whether it was like 12 a.m., 12 p.m., whatever, and like from that time that you were born, you have a map of where all of your planets and stuff is placed. But see, that's a calculation, and that's coming from a clock which didn't exist 2,000 years ago. The clock came out in the 14th century, and actually only a very few people could actually get a hold of one because they were so expensive. They were a luxury item.
Right.
Yeah.
How would it be used in like in present, like in your present time? Like what could you use the clock to do in just like your normal day?
Oh well, there's something called I'm pretty sure it's called Horary astrology. It's basically Horary, and that's basically like you use the clock. You know, like what if you have a question? You know, for divination, for example, you look at the time on the clock, then you calculate something, basically what the planets are doing at that second, which is, you know, it's very easy to do that as well. Am I saying that it works? Not necessarily, but that is a way that people have done astrology before to see what the planets are doing right now. They give but the thing, the difference between, you know, I would say a good astrologer, or, you know, say like a good astrologer or not a good astrologer, or a bullshit astrologer, because, you know, like I said, we really don't know what our ancestors did a long time ago. If you can predict what's going to happen from this moment forth and give it, say, like, you know, a birth, like almost like a baby, you know what I mean, like a piece of paper, a chart, that's very hard right there, because it's your intuition, it's your curiosity, which is bringing you to that moment, which makes it different than, say, like somebody who just looks up the daily transit. They're actually asking these questions, and they're trying their hardest to get answers or to see if it's real. So that's what makes it a good argument to not actually cancel it out like some people do.
Yeah.
But like I said, you know, also with the phone, for example, everywhere you go on the internet, you're going to see something obviously about astrology and tarot cards. So that's what I'm kind of trying to say. Like, we can also cancel it out too, because see, we never actually take the time to, you know, for ourselves and only ourselves, because everything we need to communicate with people is already out there, obviously. So that's what I'm trying to say. Like in astrology, astrology runs, you know how like gods and deities run off offerings.
Right.
Astrology's offering is the clock and the phone.
Oh.
Yeah.
And back to what I was going to talk about. Yeah, this dividing bowl here that I was talking about earlier, called the Venda dividing bowl. The dividing bowl has pictures around the rim and a carved wooden cowrie shell in the center, which represents the spirit or connection to the nether. It's like
That's like isn't that like a Risha or something right there?
the Venda from Zimbabwe.
Zimbabwe. Okay. So no, that's not a Risha. Okay.
The bowls similar to this have been found in Zimbabwe remains of buildings, including a citadel and temple that date from around 200 CE. The vendor cast 5 small bones, such as a knuckle bone, into the bowl around the edge of the bowl, symbols representing such entities or qualities as health, wealth, works, relatives, or friends. Each of the bones represents something different. It can be positive or negative. Interpretation is based on the relationship of the cast bones and the central cowrie cell and their proximity and relationship to the edge symbols. A version of the vendable can be made quite easily by using a shallow wooden salad bowl or platter. The symbol around the rim can be carved into the wood marked with a wood burning tool, which may be easier to paint it. For symbols, you can use any that you like, selecting enough different ones to cover most of the events likely to arise in life. Use the same ones that the vendor used if you feel you can relate to them. Maybe mark radiating lines from the center point. As long as you have the center point, you can easily judge which division the bone has fallen. The center point itself attach an actual cowrie shell, a small wooden block, or something similar by cutting a shallow depression and gluing it. You need 5 bones. I noticed too that how they read the bone, it depends on what side it is. Like I noticed there actually is 2 sides of a bone. Like if you got like, you know what I mean, like the joint ends and stuff, like they're shaped different on each side. And it's like depending how close they are to the rim of the divining bowl, or how close they are to other bones or other objects that you're using for the ritual. And scrying. You know a little bit about scrying?
Wait, what?
Scrying? Like a scrying? Yeah.
I mean, one thing I've noticed about scrying is, you know, basically, I don't have the greatest experience when it comes to scrying, but I do know, for example, a lot of very negative things come from scrying if you're not careful. Because, see, it's like the Egyptian god, I think he's Egyptian, Abraxas, you know, the magical right, you know, having the magic as a right. You have a right to practice magic. You don't have a right to be bound up.
Right.
Whenever I've done any kind of divination work with a mirror, I've always got like really obsessed with it, and eventually something traumatic would happen and it would backfire. So honestly, I've tried to stay away from scrying a lot because it just I don't know, man. Mirrors are a very complicated subject.
Huh. What do you think?
Like, for example, you know how
'Cause
much it costs to steal somebody's soul? It costs like $2. You just got to go to the dollar store and get a mirror and a magic marker.
Yep.
Yeah,
Like
and there's people on YouTube who have talked about this before. You know, when you look in the mirror, say like, you know, like you obsess with yourself, or, you know, or something like that.
Yeah.
You're casting spells on yourself as well. Yeah, mirrors are very complicated and very dangerous.
Huh. Because I've had experience with that, not knowing what it is. Like, know what I mean, for like a long time, and it's like I'm not able to interpret anything, but I know it actually happens. Like, you know what I mean? There is something with it. I don't know. You think there's some type of hypnotism thing or something that you do yourself? Nigga, what about you?
Actually, it's funny you mentioned hypnotism because when people normally do scrying, they do it in a dark room with candles on either side of the mirror. And what happens is the flicker rate of the candle has a hypnotic effect on you. So what happens is sometimes you start to see things because of that.
Huh. It's almost
you have to do it in order to know what I'm talking about, but it definitely is a hypnotic flicker rate.
Right. And it's, you know, if I'm not right, the person talking over there,
yeah, that's me.
It can be very intense and it can be very scary because your mind kind of tricks itself sometimes.
Yeah, I could imagine. Like, I never did it intentionally, like, but I understand it. And like when I read about it, I was shocked. I was like blown away, like from it. So yeah,
because that's actually one of the methods used for the Goetia. So if you're gonna do Goetic magic, you have to, like, you know, you can use that, or you can use smoke from incense, things like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I beg to differ on that. You know, you can also use your blood hymokinetic and say like you just want to use the sigil for spell work or something like that.
Yes, that is true too. I just didn't want to mention that because some people might be squicked out by it, but yeah.
Yeah. But you know, when it comes to anything blood magic, you can never say too much about it because you don't want to get sued.
Yeah, plus I don't want someone going out and trying something dangerous.
Yeah, it's definitely not for the faint of heart, the you know, the lightweight people out here.
Yeah, That's why I tell people.
Like I've taught, people like witches and sorcerers and stuff, and they were just the kind of people, like, they were sweethearts. They would never get into anything super dangerous like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like the main thing I tell people. I'm like, yo, I'm just giving you information. That's all I'm doing. I'm not telling you no fucking do shit. Like, don't do that.
Of course, that's also something I emphasize too. Is I don't want to encourage anyone to do anything.
Yeah.
As strange as that may sound, but that's my position.
Yeah, people will not really take it as seriously as it is.
Yeah. What works for me, you, and Killa is not going to work for somebody else, and that's why or for the most part, it's not good to recommend or encourage somebody to do something, especially because one thing I gotta say, when you're doing goetic magic and you're doing demon magic and you get in that shit hardcore, let's just say this, you're kind of, putting yourself like a diabetic. If you think about it.
Huh.
Like diabetics, they have to take, like some kind of, they have to prick their finger,
Yeah,
draw blood
they
or
have to
something.
test their blood sugar. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why, that's not necessarily a good thing for people to get into. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, it's also dangerous because even if it is on your head, then there's a bunch of stuff in your head that is very dangerous.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't emphasize enough that this stuff is like a martial art. It's like, you could break bones, you could rip ligaments, you could do a lot of damage.
Oh, yes. The demon Laraj, people have tried to summon that demon. Laraj, he's basically the archer demon in the Goetia. There's been rumors and, even like really strong people, but to beg to differ a little bit on that. Some people just, like they can work with a demon and have no problem with it. Then that other person had a problem with that demon. That's what makes it kind of weird too. I feel like not every spirit's going to like you.
Oh, of course not. You got to do this
Yeah.
cautiously and carefully with preliminary rituals and all that.
Wasn't one of you guys talking about tiger's eyes, like the stones the other night? No, that might be.
We're talking about stones now. Tiger's eye.
Yeah, I ran across this one here. It says the zoo objects above the crocodile represent the death and also the golden tiger eyes.
I will say two stones that are my favorite stones to use. Leopard skin jasper, and I don't know if you've heard of this one. I know you probably heard of leopard skin jasper, obviously. Shiva lingam.
There's a stone like that.
Yeah, Shiva lingam. It kind of looks like a brown egg.
Oh shit!
It's very powerful too. Yeah.
The Shiva lingam that's a section of a temple or something, right?
Yeah.
But it's also
the Shiva lingam is a symbol of Shiva, obviously, but it's it also includes the yoni too. So.
Yes.
Yeah. The very first origins of the Shiva statue were made in lingam.
I lost track of where I was going to go.
Yeah, that's a whole interesting subject. Hinduism, Sanatana Dharma.
In Hinduism too. That's one of the. I'm smoking a joint right now. I'm trying not to cough. But Hinduism is, you can never learn enough about that. There's just so much too. And like I said before on the astrology, you can judge the Hindu religion because of, past life karma and stuff like that. But if you really do your extensive research into the Hindu pantheon, Hindu religion, you can find some really deep stuff that is life changer. and stuff.
Yeah,
we'll change your fucking
that's
life.
the funny thing. I actually have. I've read about it extensively, and it's one of those things that will really blow you away. But what's even crazier is when you realize these Hindus all believed that these were all one God ultimately.
Wait, what? What God?
Like they believed that God was a schizophrenic with multiple personality disorder.
Which God was that?
Basically, every single one of them, they believed they were all one ultimately. I mean, that's the reason why they're even around to this day, because they had to tell the Muslims something so they wouldn't get wiped out. So they basically pretended like they were monotheistic, or they were ultimately. I mean, you could argue both. India is a weird place, mainly because each region had its own god, so they had to explain how that could work out. So
One of the, I don't know if I
yeah.
should be saying this. I guess I will anyway. I was actually explaining this to Killa on the, the group, that there was a god in India. You know how like you have the god Vishnu, okay? Vishnu, part of the Trinity. Yeah, you got Vishnu. But if you go back, this is why I say, like, I don't always believe in what astrology does, because if you were to actually go to India, you would notice that the way people do things is kind of like how people practice voodoo in Haiti. It's all different, and you can't even comprehend it. And so, for example, you got Vishnu, which is obviously a god of like reincarnation and stuff like that. He's kind of a trickster, because they don't really have trickster gods over in India, but Vishnu, and like there's one other, I forgot his name. And if you go to Kerala, India, which is a little island, you got something called Vishnu Maya. And whenever I've mentioned Vishnu Maya, people are like, "Oh, Vinesh or Vishnu," and I'm like, "No, Vishnu Maya," which is actually like a demon. Which is actually, he is the god of profit and sorcery. And also, like you said, martial art too. One of the very first martial arts actually originated in, documented, was in Kerala, India.
I heard that before.
Yeah. So it's very diverse.
Yeah, I know. I used to like study the whole like Krishna
And
thing when I was younger.
to into what I was saying is too, a lot of the things, you got to understand that the Indian people are very powerful, very wealthy. A lot of them actually control, most of YouTube and stuff like that. There actually used to be a Wikipedia page for Vishnu Maya, and they took it down. You can't find it no more. It's a different thing.
Huh.
Yeah.
I gotta big shit up.
So, like I said, you can't even comprehend what people are really doing. A lot of that knowledge is very secret and sacred.
And from what I can tell, hidden behind linguistic barriers for sure.
Yeah. And how to create, like some gods, because we can't, probably we can't speak Sanskrit. We can't speak what they speak, or whatever they write. It's, that's the thing, creating your own mantras to see into the future what God or the gods have in store for you. Like, learn what these words mean, like and Shri, and what the gods' names are and what they're a part of. Like, for example, I don't, I wouldn't want to use Nama in a Kali ritual, because Nama is a Shiva thing.
So they don't all of them don't get along, which is what you're saying, right?
Oh, the god Indra, a lot of the gods don't like him. That's one of my favorite Hindu gods to work with because he's basically like the Hindu Thor. He's like the Hindu Zeus. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He gets shunned a lot because he, like supposedly he fucked all the guru's wives. He's a pimp.
They got some crazy stories.
Yeah.
I was watching some of them like not too long.
Oh,
But-
if have you ever heard of the Hare Krishnas?
Yeah, I used to like
yeah.
a bunch
Like,
of them.
okay,
Okay, let me tell you something crazy about them. They're worshippers of the god Shiva. Not Shiva, but Krishna.
Listen,
And Krishna is said to have been quite sexually proliferate himself.
I mean, he is the god of love.
I mean, the dude got around. So, in the Hare Krishna cult or movement or whatever, there was a lot of sexual misconduct going on.
I had some friends that turned to Hare Krishna, and like one I know that's actually still it. Yep. Like they came into town, and I was into like hardcore music. And, like one of my favorite bands, they turned into Hare Krishna. So like that started the whole like you know what I mean interest in it and stuff. I still remember the chant. I still remember Hare Krishna chant.
Oh yeah, the Hare Rama Hare thing.
Yep.
See, Hare Krishna, that religion is actually big in like punk rock, which is weird. Like,
Yeah.
there's a punk scene and a hardcore punk scene, like punk rock music,
Yeah.
metal music, to where it's like all like Hare Krishna devotees and stuff. It's weird.
108, Shelter. Like the dudes on Youth of Today, they turned Hare Krishna and started a band called Shelter.
Yeah, Youth of Today, Chromax. Hey man, you know your history, man.
Hell yeah, I'm from the Northeast.
For killer.
I was going to the Anthrax, the CBGBs, all that shit back in the day.
Hell yeah.
Dad Brains.
You ever heard of DRI?
Yep, DRI.
Hey,
yeah,
that was my stepdad.
Oh, for real? Wow.
Yeah, the drummer Rob Rampy. Yeah, he was my stepdad.
Oh shit, that's like the I didn't really get into it that much. I just thought the band was cool because they had the skateboard like you know what I mean logo.
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, the skanker dude.
Yep. So that was, but I was into all like the New York like hardcore scene. Like, I was into all
I mean
yeah,
that is pretty cool, but never really was my thing. I just stayed around and studied cults and weird religious movements.
Yeah, I got into like Rastafarianism. Like
yeah. I've read about them. They're interesting.
If y'all they're kind of
weird.
Man,
they're
if
kind
you
of
haven't
weird
heard
though.
of Bad Brains, check them out, man, and smoke a joint.
Bad Brains like on a daily basis. Josh too.
Yeah.
I don't. No, you haven't met Josh yet. Other boy Josh and stuff. Me and him are big Bad Brains. I only seen HR play solo, like his solo thing. And every Bad Brains show I went to, HR could be nowhere to be found. So like he never showed up. So
Yeah. Man,
like,
HR, man, that guy's crazy. He would do backflips and all that on stage.
Yup.
Yeah.
I forgot where I saw HR at in New York.
Yeah.
Got the name of the place and stuff.
We got distracted a lot. We were talking about hobbies and bands and all that.
Yup. I grew up with a dude from Hate Breed too. Yeah.
Hate Breed. Hell yeah.
Yeah, let's get back to this thing. With the mantras, how do those actually work? I just know they're like this bugged out ass shit. That's like because I don't really know anything about it. So like I was like checking them out on YouTube one day, like these mantras and the video was just like bugged out. I was like, motherfucker, you gotta be on acid.
Wait, what?
Like the Hindu mantras, they'll have like these I'll find one. They're bugged the fuck out, dude.
Yeah.
I'm saying like how does the mantras work? Like what do they actually supposed to do?
I mean, it's like, your crown chakra, you know what I mean? Like if you're living in your chakras down below, this is perfectly explained on what do you call it, actually, the channel actualize.org. you have to, like, for example, for my advice, I would not recommend somebody going to videos listening or chanting mantras to gods until they've opened up their chakras, because in my opinion, what god is going to want to help you if you haven't opened your chakras?
Okay. Well, you're talking to like I know Neki knows on.
Like,
Well,
and there's mantras basically to open your chakras and stuff like that, which you can start off by practicing those. And once you can get control of them, then you can go to, say, like, for example, like a god like Kamdeva, and go, obviously find your soulmate, or, find some love, help, your body out. But if your chakras are blocked, man, that's a lot.
yeah. So like, what are you achieving? Like, what are you trying to achieve? Like through the magic?
That's hard to say for somebody, because it's easy to say that you're getting into this stuff because you want to have money, you want to have success, you want to be talented, you want to have all these earthly things. It's easy to say that. So to comprehend what these things could actually accomplish is solely up to the individual and how they ascend. Like, for example, what a guru would use it for is not what your normal person would use it for. And I would say the benefits of it too, you start seeing that you become healthier. When you chant your, root chakra, you become healthier. When you chant all these, different chakra mantras, you become healthier, But practice and repetition, it's like, for example, you wouldn't want to go join what do you call it, or try out for a band where they need a Mongolian throat singer, or say, like, you wouldn't want to be like a Viking singer if you haven't chanted Und, because, for example, in Hinduism, is your crown chakra, okay?
Yeah.
And that is basically like all your chakras, is your spiritual chakra. Everything is spiritual. Well, in Norse mythology, in Viking magic, it's Und, which is basically similar to your crown chakra. You wouldn't want to go out there, trying to sing for a band until you've done the repetitions of what that culture's crown chakra is. Like, you need to open up your crown chakra. So one could say they want to get into this stuff because they just want to practice their singing. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Here's something interesting to think about. Have you ever heard of the word Keter?
Katir. What's that?
It's the word that means crown in Hebrew. It's one of the
Oh,
Sephiroth.
Kether.
Yeah, Keter. Yeah.
Yeah. I know what that is. Yeah. Kether, the crown jewel. Or,
Yeah. So
Quilpath, Samael, Lucifer.
so you could use the Sephiroth to do the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify that.
That's a good
Because
point too.
that's something that I'm actually doing a little bit of research into. So that's my thing now.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I know once upon a time, someone I used to listen to would have said that the whole Kabbalah thing is bad, but now I'm doing a whole lot of digging into it. So
Anything that you're working with, like a root-based system, whether it be, the Yama's wheel of life, you know what the wheel of life is, right? Basically it's controlled by Yama, the Hindu god of death, also the Buddhist god of death.
yeah.
And then in Japan they call him Moo. There's actually
yeah,
no
yeah.
Sanskrit name for it, but in a Buddhist name for
In
it. But yeah,
Dio. Yeah, I've heard of that.
yeah.
Don't in India, don't families worship certain, like they all the families don't worship like the same gods. Like they got like their own house gods or something like that. Like there's certain gods that their family are drawn to, and that's who they serve. Is there anything like that like going on? Because like in Haiti, like they got different families or whatever. They all practice voodoo, but each family has like they said they have a reach over your head. This person has this reach, this person has that reach.
Oh yeah,
But
man, for sure.
one
There's
person,
definitely gods out there that like wouldn't work with, say, like, you know, say like a fuck boy. That, you know, like obviously, you know, if you're going to Greek mythology, you know, you're working with, you know, Eros. Um, you know, like, yeah, like that. There's no comparison when you go for Enyo. I mean, Eros. Then you go to work with a deity like Enyo, who is basically, if you call on her, she's going to destroy a whole entire city that's beefing with you. You know, like there's no comparison. Some gods, some deities, yeah, there's no comparison, man, on what they can do. But then
and
again, you wouldn't want to like set an angry goddess like Enyo on a city that's not worth her, because see, that's entertainment for her. Like, she wants entertainment. She wants something big that's going to like give her a challenge. It's, you know, like you said, Orishas too. It's like you don't mix Shango with Ogun. Ogun is, he's a police officer. He's about law and order. Shango is about entertainment and like chaos and, you know, sex and pimping. I'm not saying I'm an expert on that, but yeah.
So that would probably end in a result almost like with when Dagon and Yahweh got into it.
Let me hear about that. I don't know much about that. I know Dagon, but yeah.
It's when the Philistines captured the ark, and they had the ark in the same room as a statue of Dagon. And what happened is they heard the thing fall over. They came in and they saw Dagon was lying face down in front of the ark. So what they did is they put him back up, and then they later heard the thing fall over again, and the hands broke off the statue.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah,
like
for sure.
so there was like definitely some things going on in that room. There was a fight between those two.
And you know, one thing, you know, it's like, whether you want to believe in this as a spiritual thing, some people are skeptical about this. You know, for example, H.P. Lovecraft, Cthulhu.
Oh,
You're
that's
working with
my
a god like
favorite.
Cthulhu, which
I
power is, you
I
know,
gotta show you
mind
this.
control,
I gotta show you
driving
this.
people
Here,
insane.
I definitely
You
gotta
know,
show
if
you,
you
dude.
stray from that path
I gotta turn
and
my
say, like,
camera
for
on.
something like money, yeah, the statue gonna crack. You know, like something's gonna
oh
break.
shit,
Yeah, this thing. Let me
What's
flip my camera around, but like
we see?
let me see if I can do that. But yeah, it's definitely this thing. You see it?
Yeah.
It's a Mayan version of Cthulhu. But yeah, I had to show that to you.
Oh, that's
One of my
badass.
favorite things. I bought this off Etsy. But yeah, one of my favorite stories is definitely from H.P. Lovecraft. It's the Shadow over Innsmouth.
yeah, I never
Hmm.
never read it. Isn't he the same guy that made the Necronomicon?
He's the guy that started the idea that there is one.
Yeah.
It was a literary device in one of his books, and then someone came along. A
Have
man
you
named Simon came along and wrote one.
any of y'all ever read any of the incantations out of the Necronomicon?
The one that I'm talking about, it uses Sumerian mythology, which is very dangerous. That isn't something I would recommend. But what's interesting about it is the things in it are very, very real. So there is a god named Cthulhu. There is a version of Cthulhu that does exist.
The only Sumerian god that I've worked with, and some would call him a demon, is Pazuzu.
Oh yeah. That's
yeah.
another famous one.
Yeah. I mean, Pazuzu, yeah, he's great. I mean, he's a little slow in my opinion, like compared to say like other gods, but yeah, he's good.
But yeah, that Mayan Cthulhu statue that you guys saw.
Yeah.
I really wish I could actually make that thing do something, but I mean, I'm kind of crazy. I'm like the one that would accidentally, kickstart the end of the world by something like that.
Yeah, because I remember you showed it in that video the other day. I was like, wait a minute. I was like, isn't it Cthulhu's like a octopus or something?
What he is he's like an entity that serves even more insane gods.
Yeah, he kind of looks like an octopus / dragon, octopus squid dragon.
So yeah, he's the one that does the dealings with the actual gods in the Cthulhu mythos. He's like that Lovecraft version of Jesus.
So like he's me.
Lovecraft version of Jesus. That's a hard word right there.
Yeah,
But I can dig it.
that's basically how he's described.
Yeah. Like if you don't worship Cthulhu, we're fucked.
Yeah, so he's the mediator between all the gods. So you gotta go through him. Yeah, like he's like the Jesus, like you said.
But out of the Lovecraftian current, Cthulhu he's not the most powerful though. Definitely not the most powerful.
Yeah, that's kind of the idea. He's the one that talks to the other ones.
So is the Lovecraft Necronomicon, however the fuck you say that? Necronomicon.
Is it real?
Yeah. And if it ain't,
the word is it's not real. Someone made one. They wrote it using, like I said, Sumerian mythology.
Yeah.
But what it is it's a very dangerous book, and there's an unconfirmed rumor that someone got an actual copy of it. And what they did is they brought it into their house, and then their cat went berserk and started running around the room and then flew out the window. I have no clue if this actually happened, but I would still say the book is dangerous.
So you think it's just the energy of like people's response to it that makes it real? Or is it
the fact that it has actual mythology in it makes it dangerous.
What I'll say about the Necronomicon, the spirits you work with in that book, like they have all these different sigils and spirits in that book. I feel like these spirits are powerful and they will, like come to your aid, but they're not the most powerful. See, you can't always get a god to fight your battles, and the book kind of teaches you, to like destroy armies and stuff of people. You could do that with the Bible if you read the Psalms. Why would I need to go to the Necronomicon? I guess because, like, and I would not want to be disrespectful on this subject because I have used this book. There's a few good incantations. There's a few good, chants and rituals and prayers you can use in that book. But I feel like it's just kind of the fuckboy version of the Psalms.
What?
I mean, I wouldn't say that. I'd say it's much more dangerous.
Oh no, man, the Psalms. Yeah, it can be dangerous to say like if you don't have experience with summoning things up and stuff like that. Yeah, it can be dangerous. Same if you were to summon a djinn. Djinns are very dangerous, and they, if a djinn don't like you, it could kill you or your family.
Oh yeah, yeah. You better have the right tools for that. But yeah, I'm just gonna call it a night. It's been nice talking to you.
Yeah.
So see you both.
Hell
Shalom.
yeah, man. What's your name?
Oh, my name's Neki. You'll probably be seeing me more.
Negi. Oh yeah, I've heard about you, man. It's nice to meet you, man. I'm Loki.
Yeah, it's nice to meet you too, Loki. Nice name,
Hell
by the
yeah.
way. Have a good one. I'll see you next time.
All right. Thanks, Negi.
Yeah, shalom.
Make sure you subscribe.
Who is
Make
Tiamat?
Loki too.
I've heard that before.
You got to put that in your email, not email, your YouTube channel
What?
in the chat. So
Wait, what?
You need to put your YouTube channel in the chat.
YouTube channel in the chat for people to subscribe?
Yeah, so they can subscribe.
How do I do that?
You're probably on your phone, right? Shit.
Yeah, you would have to type it in like this.
I think, or just put the name of it in there. They can highlight it.
Do I put at?
On the phone.
I put an at in Loki.
Yeah, if you go to share on one of your videos, I guess, and you could get you could copy the link.
Okay, so you want me to hop out real quick and put one of my videos down?
Oh, I'll get it. I'm bugging. I can get it. So.
All right.
Yeah. That squirrel crazy.
Yeah, I just typed it in on the chat, I think. The private chat.
I got it. Here's Loki's channel.
Yeah, guys, I run a subliminal channel. I make subliminals, subliminal audios and stuff like that. Both magical and realistic. I'm not like the other subliminal makers and stuff like that. I try to make my stuff a little different. Hell yeah. What video did you pick?
Subscribe and hit that bell. Yeah, the video was funny. Yeah, that squirrel, I was laughing.
The squirrel? Yeah, Rotatusker.
Yeah. That's the dude right there. Bro.
That's another good way of using divination as well. If you feed the squirrels, because like if you think about it, man, the squirrels, they're a survival creature and stuff like that. Creatures that need to survive in the wild. Yeah. So, say like if you can make friends with like an animal from the wild, you feed it, and stuff like that. You can eventually start to notice its movements. Are they becoming spoiled? Are they not fending for themselves anymore? And that's actually another good way of using divination, like I was saying.
Huh. That's funny you said that, because was it yesterday? I had been yesterday. Not yesterday, the day before yesterday.
Wait, what happened?
There was a lady at an apartment building, and this bitch was calling a goddamn squirrel from across the goddamn fucking the whole fucking lawn. I was like, yo, what the fuck wrong with this fucking lady? She hanging her head out the window and shit. And the squirrel started coming. I was like, yo.
Thank you, Malik.
I mean, like, it was a big ass apartment building. And like the squirrel's all the way on the other end. And she calling it. I see the squirrel sitting looking at her. And the motherfucker came walking over to the lady. That motherfucker, like, he dipped and shit across the little street. He went up on her car and was just looking. Shit. He just made his way over there. Came right to the lady. And the lady started throwing bread and shit out the window for that motherfucker. And people standing there and the squirrel wasn't scared. It's like, yo, fuck it. I'm getting this goddamn. Giving it to me.
Yeah, for the most part, unless the squirrel's like really brave or it really trusts you, it's not gonna come up to you.
Yeah.
Like, I've actually had a baby squirrel come up to me before, and I petted it. I took it in my house for a few days and let it go back. That's kind of the biggest mistake. I should have kept it because this thing was so cute. Probably some snake got it. Yeah, but it makes sense too. Like, like for example, Ratatoskr. I'll explain this as quick as possible. He's a god, but like he's a very weak god. Like, he's obviously a squirrel. Squirrel's not very powerful. So what he does is he gets other people to attack other gods for him, to attack each other. Yeah. And things like that.
That's Judah Nazareth's motherfucking ass. That's who he is.
And it's kind of the same thing like when I'm saying when you're reading the squirrels and stuff like that. If you're coming up with a ritual, if you're coming up with a spell, base it off what you see through nature. Like, go feed the squirrels. The same thing, like, Ratatoskr can't fend for himself, so he gets other people to do it. So you notice when the squirrel's becoming spoiled. You notice when you're feeding it too much. Yeah.
Yep. The motherfucker just run up and down the tree talking shit.
Yeah. Like, hey, motherfucker, Thor. This motherfucker from Jotunheim called you a pussy. Thor comes over there and he smacks him with the hammer.
Yep.
Yeah, it's funny.
What's his downfall? Like, Ratatosk's downfall. Like, who could fuck him up?
Oh, anybody. That's what I'm trying to say. He's a weak god. But he's a messenger of the gods. So, like, he's responsible for delivering messages. There's actually another messenger to the gods, too, in Norse mythology, but I don't know his name. Or hers. So
who would be like the arch enemy of Ratatoskr?
He'd be like what?
Who would be like the main dude that would want to fuck up damn squirrel?
I don't know.
So they ain't nobody.
Probably anybody if they found out he did it.
What happened?
He's smart, so he, nobody usually, like, what do you call it? Fucks him up because he's smart.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, they got to be somebody to fuck his ass up. Somebody.
Well, any god in that pantheon would have the strength to fuck him up.
But it is all about getting that motherfucker because he's slick.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, something got to get that motherfucker. Yeah, he just run up and down the damn tree.
That's like, yeah, it's like his job.
Yeah.
And that's what you see squirrels do, running up the tree.
Yep. What the fuck y'all doing out here? The motherfucker just run up the tree.
Yeah. Like, that's what I was saying, explaining in the group. He's like basically the perfect internet troll.
Yeah.
Because like I've actually done this before. There was this dumb motherfucker from Brazil, okay, and he would always post these videos and send them to me, like, oh, show me your manifestation. He would send me these videos with like an upside down pentagram, like he was all Satan, he was all Hecate, he was all Lilith, he was all Pan, and so I was like, no, I don't feel like doing anything right now. He's like, come on, man, I need you to do a manifestation video. I was like, oh, what the fuck? And so, like, about 3 hours later, I sent him a video of me feeding the squirrels. There was this motherfucker on the app, okay, who was bullying, like, people that were disabled, and shit like that. And so what I did was, because, see, this motherfucker, he could speak Latin and curse people, this, Brazilian guy.
Yeah.
I told him this motherfucker called him a pussy, and shit like that. And this dude from Brazil went into that person's live and got in this, boxing, where you chat, and started speaking Latin to this motherfucker, that I lied about.
Yeah.
And I was just laughing my fucking ass off because he was going to have nightmares. Yeah.
I heard you mention the Hecate. What's that all about?
Wait, what? Hecate? Hecate?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, she's the goddess of witchcraft. Some actually view her as like more of a demonic figure nowadays. You know, the rules change, mythology change,
Yeah.
currents change. Yeah. Yeah,
And,
but she's basically the goddess of witchcraft, yeah, in Greek mythology.
oh,
Yeah. Like some okay, for example, another Greek god is Pan. And Pan is actually a god that literally fucking makes females wet to the point to where like they just cannot get wet no more. Like Pan is like, you know, he'll dry them out to their, you know, basically women are like an empty husk. He's definitely a very beneficial god and a dangerous god to work with for women. And a lot of people actually view Pan as Satan and Hecate as, you know, similar to Lilith. It's weird. Yeah. What happened?
all right, my bad, y'all. You know, fucking shit be happening and shit. Look, you want to pop back in, you can put the chat, the link back up there. Oh, I forgot. They did something I could pin messages to the top of the chat. So let me see if anybody subscribed tonight. Somebody subscribed, I give out an ebook. That one that I had on. And yeah, I changed the topic and shit. So what? I always do that shit. Um, yeah, so go, you guys go subscribe to Loki, Siberius, Nick Springfield. Maybe gonna come out. So good ass video. So, um, subscribe. So y'all ain't getting that motherfucking ebook. Oh, they go Loki.
Yeah, I was wondering what happened.
Yeah, now my internet got all fucked up and shit.
Oh yeah, you're good.
Um, yeah, I'll call my Hecate. That's how you pronounce it, right?
A few names: Hakit, Hecate, or Hecate. There's a few ways to pronounce it.
So that's Greek. I always thought it was some Egyptian like type of thing. That was my first.
Well, see, there's a current called Primal Craft. I was talking about this in the group, to where like, yeah, Hecate is, you know, obviously she's a Greek, you know, pagan god, but a lot of people, there's actually a lot of people that look at her as the queen of hell. Same how they would, you know, like how, you know, for example, you know how in voodoo they think, you know, certain Catholic saints, you know, with different, you know, Rishas, Loas, and spirits and stuff like that.
Right.
The same thing kind of goes with certain people, how they look at Hecate and, you know, of Greek mythology and her without changing the names, obviously. You know, they keep the same names. Yeah. Like, you know, I said Pan is kind of like Satan and
Right.
Hecate is kind of like, you know, Lilith.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. It was like Lilith.
Although which makes this actually weird is I don't think they actually compare her to Lilith. And you know, if you spoke to the both entities, Lilith and Hecate or Hecate,
Yeah.
you would not get the same, you know, response. It would be a whole different response.
Um. Yeah. That shit always happens. I'm getting old.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's not what it is. But fuck it, I gave this shit my the Lilith, the idea of Lilith. Where do people?
Wait, what?
Most people that's into like magic and stuff. Where do they get the idea of Lilith? How are they?
This is where I bust everybody. If people get this far in the podcast, this is where I bust everybody's bubble about Lilith.
Okay, all right, go for it.
And don't lie, people. Y'all wanted to work with Lilith because you thought you were gonna have some, succubus woman come and suck your dick and fuck you.
Oh shit, I know what you.
Yeah, because that's what a lot of people they look at Lilith as a succubus.
Yeah, you're right.
From my occult teachers, and people try to say, oh, you didn't summon a succubus because you're an incel. You didn't summon a succubus because you didn't do it right. I've known people in this occult industry who are fucking bodybuilder shape, and they will tell you that a succubus never reveals itself, and you're not going to summon it. The only way you'll summon it, don't get me wrong, but it's going to drain you to an empty husk, and you're not even going to know it ever happened. Like, yeah, don't get me wrong, Lilith is good for curing things like, obviously, sexual dysfunctions and stuff like that. But remember, she's infertile. God cursed her. Oh, well, what are people going to say? Oh, you're going off the Christian mythology. So what if I'm going off, like the Judaism mythology or something like that? Who cares? There's still some truth to be said into that. Lilith was cursed by God when she fled Adam, And that's what I'm trying to say. Like, this is not a good deity to work with if you're trying to have children. And people who have worked with Lilith and actually have seen results, you're going off blind luck. She gonna get your ass. Just like, people who worship Santa Morte. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, like you said, they're gonna get. So those are like what type of people be the ones that can deal with it, or there isn't anybody?
Women that don't want to have children, for real, because that bores Lilith. You know what I mean? It bores her. It bores her. It bores her to see, like, for example, you go home every day. You take, you hang out with your kids, you make dinner, or like you take your kids to school. That's boring to Lilith. Lilith is more of like, concerts, rock and roll, having fun. You know what I mean? Like, it's see, because this is a problem with a lot of people. They think Lilith zodiac sign, because of the asteroid in astrology, is Scorpio. That's not true. Lilith's zodiac sign is Cancer, and it's just like, Cyndi Lauper, the singer, the redhead. Girls just want to have fun. Right. That's what Lilith is right there. She's basically female fun. So females who want to have fun,
that would deal with her.
Yeah, that's the ones that would be able to deal with her.
And that's funny that you said that in the beginning, because like I wasn't talking about like the stuff I hear about Lilith now, but like a long time ago, like I read it, like what is Lilith?
Well, you also got to understand, I've been working with Lilith for 11 years.
It's that come in your room and fuck you. I was like,
yeah. No, like I've been working with Lilith for 11 years.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm 25 now. So they're like literally like half of my teenage year. Yeah.
Wow, that's heavy.
And yeah, like I'm saying, a lot of people, they do not know what they're getting themselves into when they're summoning this being, Lilith, or they're calling her. Whether you want to just call her like, the devil, like the man, with the guitar goes out to the crossroads, or you just want to call it lonely in your bed. You know what I mean? You do not know what the people who you're summoning Lilith out here, you do not know what you're doing. Now, I would say a good counterpart to Lilith, say like for males, and I haven't actually worked with him, but I would assume that this deity is better by the vibe he gives me, because this deity, when I actually have his blood, my blood painted on the wall in his sigil. I have a whole entire wall painted of sigils, Lilith, Satan, and stuff like that. That I painted. The vibe I get from the counterpart, Samael, which is like the masculine version.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Samael, right?
Right.
The destroyer, similar to Abaddon. He gives me more of like a gothic, like Dark Knight Transylvania kind of vibe. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the thing is, Lilith she will trick you and think it's all normal to have these emotions, to have these feelings, when it's not. That's not a manly thing. At all.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, any questions, or I'll let you go on.
Yeah, man. Lilith is a crawling owl in Isaiah. Where at? Where Lilith at in the Bible? That's what I was asking. Lilith ain't in that one.
Lilith is a crawling owl in Isaiah. Yo, Malik, can you get in here and explain that?
Yeah. I'll always be asking him to come on.
Yeah. I'd like to hear that right there, because I don't know much about the crawling owl. I'd have to read Isaiah, I guess.
Basic of owl. Yeah.
Isaiah 34:14. Did you get that, Killa?
Yeah. There's a picture to meet the hyenas on one wild goat.
Actually, I have a Bible. I'm gonna go grab one real quick. I'm gonna look at this myself.
Yeah, what are you talking about? Isaiah 34:14.
This is actually like 100-year-old Bible that I'm looking at right now. It's like ripping apart. Okay, let me check this out. Isaiah. Oh, it's in Hebrew. Isaiah 590. 590. Isaiah 34. The wild beasts of the desert shall also meet with the wild beasts of the island, and the satyr shall cry to his fellow. The screech owl also shall rest there and find for herself a place of rest. Ooh. Ooh. I seen some cynical shit right there. I like that.
It's in the Hebrew.
It's funny because we were talking about Pan right before he left. The Pan's like a satyr, and his only weapon, like this is saying basically that the woman will have a place to rest at the end of the day. You know, where she can relax and she can get away from basically that manly energy.
Yeah,
So if you think about it, if Pan's power is to get women sexually turned on to you, then Lilith would be the one that like opposes that. She just, you know, like wants to be to herself and be alone.
Yeah.
I'm definitely seeing some cynicism right there, man. That's awesome.
You see, that's it in the Hebrew, the night monster, Lilith, Lilith, the female night demon. 39:17. Female night demon, night monster.
You know this. Okay, you know the wild beasts. Imagine we were Pan. Okay, the wild beasts of the desert shall also meet with the wild beasts of the island. It's similar to basically how me and my friends we meet up. And you know, we talk about how females, you know, sometimes, you know, be motherfucking crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hard to deal with. Like the wild beasts of the desert shall also meet with the wild beasts of the island, and the satyr shall cry to his fellow. Exactly what I'm saying. Although I don't cry, but yeah, that's some emo shit. The screech owl also shall rest there and find for herself a place of rest. Wait, am I reading this wrong? I think I was reading it wrong.
You see it here.
It's a C.
Yes, the night monster.
Rest in hell. Oh, okay. I see.
That's crazy. Night monster. Female night demon. That's crazy. Yeah. Prove me wrong.
Yeah, that gives me a whole different perspective on Lilith, actually, reading that. And, you know, like, okay. Pan, yeah. I definitely see, though, the cynicism there, though. Think about it, man. That's all Pan wants to do is fuck. And if he's crying to his fellow, he's wanting to fuck. Could you see that a satyr fucking an owl? Oh, man, that would be some comedy. Oh, man. It's like that joke they have. You know, what do you call it? Did you know pigeons die after having sex? The one I fucked did.
Oh, shit. That's
I don't know, man. That's kind of funny. Lilith is an owl. That's what I mean by giving me a different perspective on her. Like, oh, man. That's fucked up.
Kind of shit. Oh, I'm not. I thought I was on the thing.
Huh?
I'm looking up Lilith. It says also called the night hag. That's the South Carolina shit. Siberia is probably the night hag. That's what it's called. Trying to say the night creatures, night monster, night hag, and screech owl. Said commentators and interpreters have envisioned the figure of Lilith as a dangerous demon of the night, who is sexually wanton and who steals babies in the dark. These scrolls on the curves and the list of monsters. Jewish masculine in scriptures on bowls and implements from the 6th century, AD onward, identify Lilith as a female demon. Devise the first visual depiction. Mary, female demon, Lily. Lilith, Lilith, female knight. Lilith, disease-bearing wind spirits. Disease-bearing wind spirits.
That looks like a star day right there. But yeah, it's also Lilith. I actually have that statue right there.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
I got some videos and all that type stuff. Like way back in my thing before I started making Divinatory. Talk about it.
Yeah.
The bird-footed one. Astarte is Astaroth too, right? Same people.
Yeah. Astaroth. Yeah, and the Goetia.
Yep. Lilith only appears once in the Hebrew Bible in the prophecy regarding the fated Eden, while the other 7 terms in the list appear more than once. Other 7 terms in the list appear more than once, thus are better documented. The reading of scholars and translators is often guided by teaching about the complete list of 8 creatures as a whole. Quoting Isaiah 34. He who cast a lot, divination, cast a lot for them, and with his hand he remarks, "It shall possess her forever and ever." But yeah, the night hag is when you sleep in
That
that
verse,
night.
that Malik it is definitely stuck in my head though. It's definitely there's some meaning. I'm gonna read that whole chapter, later on.
Love that she rests and finds the goat he calls his fellow living. Huh.
There's another version of Lilith too, in Brazil called Pombagira. You ever heard of her?
That's where I wanted to do a video on that on the not Common Red. It's called what's it called?
Was it Mukamba? I forgot. I don't know how to pronounce it. In Cubanda. Yeah.
Yeah, I had paper on him or something. It's supposed to be a pretty extreme deity, right?
Wait, what?
It's supposed Palmadeer is supposed to be a really extreme type. Don't all the spirits that they deal with aren't they like really extreme, like really like?
Well, Pombagira, she's very attractive. She's very, beautiful woman, very nurturing.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm still kind of stuck, in the early 2000s. See, she's a deity that's like, about transgender sex and gay sex and all that.
Uh-huh.
And like, yeah, she does have male followers and people that work with her to find, soulmates and women and all that.
Yeah.
But I just could she, it's like my buddy from Brazil told me. If you work with Pombagira, you're gonna attract controlling women, and I definitely don't need no controlling women. And you got different aspects of Pombagira. You got, Pombagira Cigano, which means Pombagira, the gypsy. Like,
Yeah.
You're attracting a spirit like that. That is rough. So it really depends on the aspect you work with her. I would say I don't know what aspect she came to me, but whatever aspect she did come to me, it was a very nurturing aspect, but I still couldn't deal with the whole idea of centered around her worship. So I got rid of her.
I saw something a few weeks ago that was talking about Palmadeer, and they were saying like how that like you had mentioned it's supposed to be like, you know what I mean, like the whole gay thing and all that stuff. They were saying that it wasn't that, but it was just like he has a ordering. That's what I just remember that I watched that video I was talking about. It was saying that it's a woman, but she has a stern part to it. You know what I mean? She's a very nice woman. Like you said, she's very nurturing and stuff like that. But the bossiness, then she has a real bossy side. Like a real bossy side. So that's it.
Oh yeah. Like I've like throughout my whole entire life, I've attracted women that seem to, what do you call it, just like fucking want to run the show and run my life. You know what I mean? Fuck up my fucking feelings. Basically mark their spot like a fucking cat marks their shit in a fucking litter box. It's so goddamn annoying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what other and what about Esu? That's who they call them. Isn't that the moon deity,
Wait, what?
or is the meteor Exu?
Exu?
Yeah,
Exu, EXU?
I think that's how you pronounce it. It's in the
Well,
same.
Exu would be basically like, you know, see, what a lot of people don't get is, like the rules have changed. Like, for example, I made this in the video I made about Lilith. How, like, back in the day, you know, 11 years ago, Lucifer was basically the Leviathan. Like you have, what is it? Hermes, he opens it, the gates to, the spirit realm to speak with the gods. Same with
Right.
Saint Peter, who owns the gates, the keys to heaven, I guess.
Yeah.
So like the rules in the occult have changed a lot. Like Lucifer used to be the liminal deity. He was the top dog. He was the big dog. When you get into Cubanda, it's like this one guy. He used to make videos. He doesn't anymore. Kareem Spirit Works, who's a guy who does tarot readings here on YouTube. Used to make all these different videos. I've spoken with this guy before. It's like, most people, they get into, voodoo, they get into, Ifa or something like that, and they want to go to, what was it? Eshu, what's his name? Alegua or Papa Legba, because it's very alluring.
Yeah.
But we've lost that liminal process, how every god and spirit could actually come to you and give you advice without having to go to the gatekeeper itself. Because what will people tell you? They'll tell you that Papa Legba is shit, and they'll tell you Baron, or Bawan Samzi is a lot better.
Yeah.
So when you're getting into the Cubanda side, you got, Pamajira, which is a crossroads spirit. You got Exu, which is a crossroads spirit, but also Ogum, or also an Ifa as Ogun,
Yeah.
is also a crossroads spirit that can be liminal. So I feel like almost every single spirit in in Brazil is somewhat liminal to them.
Okay.
Yeah, and maybe that comes with a sense of pride. I don't know.
Yeah, Eshu is the one that looks like Satan, right? I think the woman looks like a woman Satan. Doesn't she have horns on her head?
Yeah, but where I was getting at is kind of like Exu, EXU. He's basically, yeah, like the Brazilian Alegua Eshu.
Because
Yeah.
isn't there only 3 gods in Quimbanda? Or something? There's not like a bunch of gods. I think it's just those 2.
I mean, that I know of. I doubt it. Like, it's, like how, like, for example, I was talking about earlier in India, how it's very diverse and things like that.
Yeah.
Like, I've showed spirits of like different Catholic saints to, my friend from Brazil.
Okay.
And he would give me, like, he would say Anima Sola was like something in Portuguese, or he would say like, this saint was something else. Like, what they do there, I don't know everything. You'd have to be able to speak the language of Portuguese to understand.
Right.
Yeah. So I wouldn't say they're the only, but those are the only ones that I heard of is, Exu, Pamajira, and Ogum.
Yeah, I was meaning to do a video on that. Got a little bit. It says Apu is also a crossroads spirit.
Yeah, you know, he's the railroad tracks, and if you think about it, that's kind of a crossroads in between the road and you know that we drive on and the road that the train goes on. That's
But
like the train's road is
he's
the
like the night
tracks.
version of Papa Legba, right? He's like the night.
Huh?
He's like the night version of Papa Legba. He's like
Who?
Papa Legba, but
Ogum?
dark side. No, Kafu.
Oh, Calfu. Oh,
Yeah.
you said Calfu. Okay. No. He's not railroad tracks. Um, I don't know. I feel see Calfu. I don't. I mean, see, you got to understand when you're getting into Haitian business, you know, and stuff like that. This is why my identity's blocked. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, it's like you know any spirit. Calfu might like you, man, or he might hate you.
Mm-hmm.
Like I, I feel like you know Legba, like you know, because you know they're kind of similar. They're kind of the same thing. I feel like Legba is going to play tricks with your head.
Yeah.
You know, Legba says he cares, then he doesn't care. Like he's always with you, man. Like he's always watching, he's always hearing you, and he's always smiling. This is why you know, like if somebody you know, I was gonna make a video about this, but I you know, and I did make it, but I didn't post it because the audio came out poorly, maybe for a reason.
Yeah.
Do TV shows, do movies have accurate depictions of spirits and gods? Of
Ooh.
course. It's just like Papa Legba supposedly can speak all languages. You don't think that Papa Legba could have an accurate depiction also in a movie? Of course he can.
Yeah.
Yeah. But this is where like we always, you know, like we go in circles and stuff like that. And so I would actually say that Cal Fu, he gets the job done, man, compared to Legba. You ask Cal Fu to take out your enemies, he will.
Yeah, I heard that's like a pretty
But
dangerous
then
thing.
again, I don't work with Haitian voodoo anymore, you know, anything like that. I mean, I will when I need to.
Yeah.
You know, I just about a couple weeks ago I was working with Bawan Lacroix, you know, for some healing and stuff like that. He's
Yeah.
good. It's just I hate to say this because there's probably somebody out there I'll meet someday. Haitians are very, very, very secretive people,
Yeah.
and they don't respect a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you seen that on my side too?
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, they
And
videos.
and you know what? Like you know, if there's any Haitians ever watching this, you know what I want to say? I hate the French too. Yeah, yeah. Because
Yeah.
I don't know. Look, I was messing with this French woman, and man, and she was just too controlling. She wanted to control everything. You know what I mean? She
Yeah.
wanted to control my musical voice. She wanted to control my dick. Like this was a person who fucking who was very powerful. She was a part of a cult, you know, here, you know, in Orlando, Florida, that would sacrifice animals. So every time you try to bind this person or take, you know, your power back, you
Yeah.
know, like you would, you know, try to get your power back from her, you know, fucking with you and shit.
Yeah.
She would go sacrifice an animal because when see this is what makes animal sacrifice so powerful because you're giving a life to get a life.
Right.
So, you know, she was getting her powers back by the animals that she sacrificed.
Damn. So she was she was bad to the motherfucker nigga and shit.
Yeah. So she's not from France, but you know, she had like French in her.
Yeah.
So I will say this: fuck the French, fuck their women. They're all controlling, and they're all spoiled ass They're all spoiled ass brat bitches. I got no filter, man. I'm an Aries. I'll say how I feel.
Well, what about you know anything about Paulo?
Paulo.
I did a couple of videos.
I really want to get into Paulo, but see, okay, I was going to this store, okay? You know, it was, you know, a Botanica. You know what a Botanica is, obviously, right?
Right.
It's basically, you know, like a religious supply store where they sell, you know, all the religious shit.
Yep.
You know, it's this place here in Fort Pierce, Florida. You know, called I'm not gonna say what it's called. No, that's not cool. So basically, I was going there. I was getting religious supply stores. I bought all these Orisha altars, and see, this is why I don't practice voodoo anymore. I'm gonna tell you why. Because the altars in there were all contaminated and haunted. See, this lady, okay? When I first met her, her skin was really bad and stuff like that. So you know, I spent all my money into the spiritual work, all these candles,
Yeah.
and this is why I say you be careful on what stores you go to. You be careful where you shop from. The more I'd go there, I could tell the skin on her face was getting better. You know what I mean? It was starting to look nicer and things like that. See, what she was doing was everything I bought from her had a spell on it, and I was being drained. So I had to throw out all the different Orisha statues that I had because I couldn't do it.
I heard that from somebody.
Oh man, I love French women too. Like, this is what I'm trying to say. You know, it don't matter if you're Haitian or you're French. There's got to be somebody out there that's good. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I recently heard that
beautiful.
when you buy statues or anything like from Botanica and stuff, you should cleanse them and stuff.
Wait, what? My bad.
I heard recently, like real recent, like last few days ago, that stuff that you buy from a Botanica, you should like cleanse and stuff before you use. Because they said that things could be on them and all these different people touching, you know what I'm saying, those objects and stuff like that.
Well, okay. The one thing she did was she was mixing all in the same room. She had a Naganga, you know, or something like that. Basically, you know, those things, you know, had the sticks, you know, the swords, or maybe it wasn't a Naganga, but you see where I'm coming from.
I want one so I can put Judah Nazareth up in that one.
Yeah. But no, Palo Mayombe actually does seem very fascinating.
Yeah, it is. It's like super fascinating.
And you know, they have spirits in Palo Mayombe too that are like immune to black magic and stuff like that. Immune. Yeah. There's some spirits in there that, like, what do you call it? That can, like, literally. And the thing is, you really got to do your research on a Palo Mayombe. You really got to pay attention. You got to take screenshots and stuff like that, because as anybody, if you're a white person, even if you're, Latino, Hispanic, you're African, you have to be careful. You got to know what you're getting yourself into, because right before, when I left this place, is when they asked me, do you want to get scratched? So I was like, what is scratch? Well, scratch is basically like initiation, you know, where they get the animal, then they cut you around your body, you know what I mean? Give you like some cuts and stuff like that, and you become initiated. Scratch and Palo. And I just didn't want to do that because, see, I wasn't ready. I didn't trust it. And I had a funny feeling and stuff like that, that this place just wasn't good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That shit expensive too.
I mean, I've been in good. I made a what do you call it? A video about the very first time that I went actually to a witchcraft store. You know, like whether you want to call it Botanica, religious supply store, occult, pagan, witchcraft store. Yeah, man, I use Florida water. A lot of times I just got some Florida water the other day when I was going. They have it at this dollar store here and shit like that. Actually, right down the street from the Botanica that I'm talking about. So you don't even have to go to the Botanica sometimes. You can get the stuff offline.
Yeah.
You can get the stuff, at your hood store. You know what I mean? You go anywhere to get that.
Like the little bodegas out here, you can buy it. Like all the stuff in there. Florida water, all that, candles, all that shit. Right there.
But no, like I was saying, is I made a video about the very first time that I went to a witchcraft store here in Florida, because see, I decided to go to New Orleans, to this place called Hex Old Witchery, which is it's a little cool, witchy vibe kind of shop. They sell the soaps, they sell the candles, and I always feel like everything in that store is blessed. You know what I mean? Like everything in there is good. You know what I mean? Like they cleanse the place and stuff like that, or they do rituals to bless it and chant it. People will say they're fake, and stuff like that, but there is some really good soaps and stuff and oils you can buy there.
Yeah,
it's Some of it's obviously overpriced because, you know, it's a tourist area. They also have a store in Salem, Massachusetts. And Christian Day, yeah, he's been on, you know, TV shows and stuff like that. He's a very popular witch up in Salem, Mass.
Yeah, I've been there. I've been to Salem.
Yeah, yeah. So I was like, oh my God, this place is so cool. It has a gothy vibe. And the woman that was working there, she was very beautiful.
Yeah.
But then, you know, like I get back here in Florida, okay? You know, this is where you Florida man, Florida crazy, Florida bitches. There's the store where actually the British singer, what's his name, Sam Hunt went to.
Okay.
There's it called. I'm just gonna put it straight out there because you bitches are evil. Avalon.
All right.
Okay. And basically, they had this oil there where basically it's called impotence oil, where basically like if a man was going out on a Thursday night to flirt with a woman, this woman would have like a spiritual spell on her to fuck that dude up sexually. Like,
Yeah.
so what I'm trying to say is, it's not necessarily always about, you know, who the person is or what they are. Sometimes it's about gender or where you're from.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you pick up those kind of skills here in Florida, man. People don't fuck around. There's some scary shit here, and some mean ass women. Hello,
Yeah,
ladies.
um,
Do you
like,
have a Hey, girl, do you have a fever right now? It's okay. Okay, keep your panties on. We're here to have fun tonight, ladies.
yeah,
Yeah.
man. Yeah, Florida. There is a lot going on in Florida as far as like all the magic.
Well, that's the thing, man. We have, you know, here in Florida, you know, I mean, everybody's settled everywhere. You know, obviously New York is one of the places where the most spoken languages are in the world. We, you know, here in Florida, we have the Greek people here that, and they know a lot of stuff that's, you know, about magic and pagan. They actually have their own mob that a lot of people don't know about, the Greek mafia, which
Yeah.
stretches all around the United States back to Greek.
Yep.
So, you know, like, so when you're talking about things like, you know, Zopound, you know, the Haiti and stuff like that, there's a lot of different stuff here that you got to be careful with. You know, here in Florida, man, you know, and people like they can confuse this shit when I talk about this. You got to be careful, man, with them Haitians. You got to be careful there, man. We got these Greek people here. Oh man, I'm not lying to nobody, man.
Yeah. I used to hang with a bunch of Greek kids. I used to hang with the hate breed dudes.
Yeah.
Now Yanni, he's doing life in prison and shit. Told him crazy ass Greek kid. So Greek, I know some crazy Greek people.
And you know, a lot of old people settle here too and stuff like that, and that brings a big Masonic community as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like my grandfather, he's a past master Mason. You know what a past master is, right?
Yeah, that's something that already the next person went in. Yeah, so
that's like the ones that kind of like can initiate you. They have like such a respect that they can like initiate you. They can tell you certain things and stuff like that other Masons can't.
Right.
Basically, you're trusted enough to, what do you call it, be guarded with the secrets and what to tell and what not to tell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, masonry is another interesting like thing. I totally changed all my views on it and stuff like that.
I have like in my bloodline, I have a huge, what do you call it, bloodline of, you know, Scottish Freemasonry in my blood.
Yeah, me the same. Yep. My father.
Yeah. My grandmother, she's from Scotland.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Like Eastern Stars and all that stuff.
Yep. Yeah, she's an Eastern Star. Yeah, she, like my grandpa's Mason, she's an Eastern Star. You know, isn't that weird too, how the Eastern Star is basically an upside down pentagram?
Yeah. I always wondered about that.
Same. Well, I didn't know what an Eastern Star was actually till about, I don't know, a year ago.
Wow. Yeah, I grew up with that since I was a little kid. Yep. All my aunts were. Yep. My brother, all my aunts, like on both sides of the family.
Now, when people talk about, say, like, you know, the Illuminati conspiracy, not all Masons are into that stuff. But then again, there are some out there that are really into the dark shit as well.
Yeah, I was trying to tell that to my boy. Like he does a lot of debates and all that stuff. I said
because there's a lot of old men and stuff
crazy
in here that like if they were Masons in here, where we're talking about this stuff, they'd be like, "What the fuck are you talking about? You're confusing me. That's not what goes on."
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I say. I was like, you don't know what I don't know what goes on. You don't know what fuck goes on because we're not a Mason. And when you got all these people writing all these books talking about them, they were in the motherfucking lives. And the ones never say what lives they was in. You know what I mean? So like nobody know what the fuck they do up in there but them. And if you want to know, just ask. Your ask can join and you can find out what the fuck they do in there. So anything outside of that is all speculation and shit. Yep. All speculation. You don't know what the fuck they do up in there. But I don't believe they doing nothing. What people say that they're doing. I don't believe like any of that shit going on.
But if any of y'all, I will say this though, I'm allowed to say this. If any of y'all want to become a Mason, you need to get a hold of a Masonic dictionary first, and you need to study what each code and what each word means. You can actually, sad to say, you can find this, or lucky to say, you can find this on the internet. Everything's on the internet, sadly.
Yep.
Yeah, Masonic dictionary, and you'll see what all the different words mean, their codes and stuff. So if you want to join, you'll know how to communicate with them.
Be all up to par. I actually did an interview with a Mason, and the audio got all jacked up. But I got to get him back up on it. He answered a lot of like cool questions and stuff about like what people talk about Albert Pike, and the whole thing being about Lucifer and stuff. Like he explained that Albert Pike, he revised some of the degrees in the science Masons, but that was just in his jurisdiction. That he didn't represent all of Freemasons. A lot of the conspiracy people, they look at him as the authority, you know what I mean, of like the whole shit. Like whatever he say, that's what it is. And so they go off of that book, and they try to say all the Masons and Luciferians and shit. And like that's his interpretation of it. Like there's all walks of life. There's Chinese people, there's African motherfuckers, German, Australian, Japanese, whatever you, the Native American Indians, like you name it, like you know what I mean? They're in it. So
and I will say this though: if you want to attract the attention of a Mason, I'll say this to y'all: wash your hands. Basically, invest in some spiritual soap, man. And whether you want to get it from there's a company on Amazon. They have their own website too called Art of the Root. You go to Hex Old Witchery, you can go to these botanicas, invest in some, soap, man, and wash your hands if you want to attract the attention of a Mason. The cleaner the hands, the better. Because there are a lot of lodges where you actually you can't just, say you want to join, you have to be invited in.
Yeah.
So the cleaner your hands, the better.
Yep. The cleaner everything else is too, along with it. Yep. Sure. They don't have no like half-ass people in that.
Oh no, man! Like whenever like it's like the all-seeing eye, man.
Yeah.
When you're a Mason, you have Mason in your family. A lot of times, man, this like unless you're a complete fucking idiot, this stuff can keep you having a Masonic person in your family can bring you tons of privileges that you don't even know. It's weird.
You don't even understand.
You're not supposed to question somebody whose family member is a Mason.
Well, I would say it's like I hear this from a lot of them too. Like people talk about the favors and stuff like that. They all say that's not existent. And like what explain it to me is like this is your walk, so you're supposed to carry yourself as an upright person, and you're not asking for anything. Like you can help your fellow man, but you're not supposed to be looking. I'm paraphrasing. I'm probably fucking up.
Yeah.
But, you know what I mean? It's like it's not like, oh, you're a Mason, I'm gonna hook you up. It's like know what I mean? It's in need. It's not something that like you're not joining to get no hookup. Like, you know what I mean? Like you just want to supposed to carry yourself as an upright person. You know what I mean?
Well,
And
yeah, there's a lot of
every
reasons why a lot of the people that are in the Masons have actually like they've a lot of them have served in the Air Force
yeah.
military police unit.
That's how my buddy he joined. No, he was Mason before he joined the military. But he was saying
Because people like that are entrusted. When you're able to be trusted, is when you can attract things like that.
yeah.
Anybody could be a Mason. You just got to be trustable.
Well, people talk about they've been to jail and they're Mason and shit. Like I'm positive they said there ain't no such thing as a Mason that was in jail. He said no fucking such thing.
Oh yeah, man. If you cannot be a Mason if you've been arrested, yeah, you're right about that. That's my grandpa told me.
Oh.
Yeah.
Person. Or the potential to be one. Yep. Shit, man. I'm about to get up out of here.
Yeah. But the reason why I say wash your hands, like, before we wrap this up, divination and astrology, it's like the zodiac sign, the last zodiac sign. This is relevant because it's the last. Pisces. I knew this Pisces person who used to be obsessed with washing his hands. This is a young adult right here. He's like 2 years before he's going to be 18. You know what I mean? 3 years, whatever. Washing his hands. This motherfucker was so goddamn weak. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, like, like I said, he had the obsession of washing his hands. A few years later, that kid becomes muscular. He's a strong mechanic. What happened there? See,
now
the zodiac sign Pisces answers to a higher calling. You know what I mean? Because it takes in all the energy of the zodiacs. You know what I mean? It's like the trash can. So what I'm trying to say is, for example, this is why they say don't use hand sanitizer, and things like that too much because it could kill your immune system. Right. The same thing that goes with cleaning your hands, but we underlook it on what we can do because we're afraid to go into the darkness and into that pain of having to deal with weakness. Washing your hands is a blessing by the God. It might make you weak at first, but in the end, it's going to work out. This is what I'm trying to explain, like for divination, the zodiac sign Pisces. A lot of people, they say, obviously people will say this, you're not going to understand that sign. You never will. But how I just explained it to you is understanding it, which a lot of astrologers don't understand as well, because you can't explain that sign, but I just did. It's the higher calling, the unconscious. Yeah. So a lot of y'all people out here, if you're worried that you're wrong about something, you're probably right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you just gotten confused, you've been twisted, you've been brainwashed. Always go with what you think is right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just a little inspiration there. Before we wrap it up, but yeah.
Yeah, that was what's up. Yeah, it's been great having you on, man. We gotta get you up on here, man. Definitely talk about astrology, because I don't know shit about astrology. I know like a little, you know what I mean, but not like nothing, basically nothing.
Well, that's good that you have me in your group because I know a lot about it.
Yeah. Yep. I definitely want to get that information out there. There's been a lot of people and stuff joining these shows and stuff on these topics. Like it's
if you want, we could do an episode about that sometime. You know what I mean? Astrology.
Yeah, definitely could do that.
And I could give in my 2 takes. People can ask me questions, what I think and stuff like that. You saw my one video that I was explaining all the different words in, astrology that didn't come from books, or they didn't come from, as you would say, other, astrologers, famous astrologers out here, popular astrologers.
Yeah.
The way I look at astrology is not how very many people are going to look at astrology, and stuff like that. And you saw the video when I was talking about the Kabbalah and stuff like that. Yeah.
The farthest my knowledge and astrology goes, you ever heard of Linda Goodman?
Miranda Goodman. Yeah, she's one of the astrologers on
Linda
here.
Goodman. No, Linda Goodman.
Linda Goodman.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that's the I read a couple of her books when I was like real young. I was like a teenager. So that's as far as I can get about stuff like from her.
Yeah.
And that Hindu stuff too. It's pretty deep. There's a couple of channels out there, and they deal with they couple like black dudes and stuff. They deal with that mantra stuff like
see,
that.
this is what I'm trying to say though is there is a like, for example, how I was able to read the tarot cards without reading the book. There's a difference between spiritual astrology and the book astrology.
Okay.
Yeah. A lot of astrology comes from, obviously it does come from books, mythologies and stuff that we've written about gods through Greek mythology, Hindu mythology and stuff.
Okay.
So this is why it's good, to read the Bible. It's good to learn as much about mythology and stories as possible, because then you could actually make sense of the flaws in the stuff that astrologers are speaking about.
Yeah. Yeah,
but
that's
more on that later. But yeah.
Yeah, we definitely gotta do some more shows on this stuff. Gotta get some more people on here too. The rest of the crew. Siberia's being Siberia did a good play the other night. I don't know if you got a chance. That was good. That was real
And
good.
if you want to talk about tarot cards and stuff like that as well, some of the signs and some of the planets, if you read the rider deck, you know what I mean? The basic tarot cards.
Yeah.
There's some of those cards that have the rulerships and of signs and planets and stuff like that. They intermatch.
Yeah. As far as tarot cards, right? And you're giving somebody a reading, and you say, "Okay, this is what's gonna go down," right? And could you do it again and get the same results?
Wait, ask that one more time. I'm sorry.
Like somebody using the cards for divination, right? And you tell them whatever was supposed to go on and whatever, right? And then you do it again right after that, where you get the same results.
Similar, but you most likely usually not the same. That's like, for example, say like if you had a astrological birth chart and all your planets were placed in Aries, man, you would be a psycho ass motherfucker. You'd be basically like the Hulk, locked down in motherfucking military prison.
Yeah.
That is wouldn't make any sense, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, could you imagine that? Say like if they had all Aries energy and they were just like public enemy number one because they were just so aggressive. They were so hyper masculinity, so toxic masculinity. Like that's what I'm trying to say. There's no such thing as really toxic or hyper masculinity too. Because nobody's chart's gonna have like 100% Aries. That is not gonna make sense. Come on. Yeah.
So the cards and stuff, they would land somewhat similar. I just thought that was just like an
Yeah. You could have a similar, like say like you read the cards, okay? You know, for somebody, and say like this is about to go down. Let's just say it's accurate. Okay, so what do I do about it? What you do is, this was actually explained on EA Coetting's channel. EA Coetting, Become a Living God.
Right.
Yeah, he has that video about tarot card readings. When you're doing tarot card readings, you pull out, the cards, ask a question, you see what's up. Then, once you get, what's going on at the moment for that person, you shuffle the cards again and you ask a question to see what you could do about it, to whether change the outcome, or to, make it go smooth, whatever you want to do. You can keep shuffling the cards and asking questions about that same situation. What you gonna do? See, this is the problem. Say like you ask the cards some dumb shit. You know what I mean? Like, when am I gonna have money? You get a reading. Then you ask again, how can I make it easier to get money? You ask and you keep asking a question deeper and deeper. you might actually start getting the same cards. It's like, for example, when runes, reading runes, like Viking symbols.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. You're not supposed to do like, I wouldn't take out 10 runes because that's almost like that's like almost like half the alphabet, a little under half the alphabet of the runes. So like the most I'll do in like a rune reading is maybe like 8, because 8 is the Viking number. That is the most.
Okay.
Like, for example, I thought somebody was trying to use a reversed rune on me, and I knew that rune was somewhere in the reading, if that makes sense. So I pulled out one rune, it wasn't there. Pulled out another rune, it wasn't there. So about the time that I got up to the 5th rune, like that saying, okay, that number 5 killed me. They have that saying, you know what I mean? There was the exact rune that I was pretty sure that person was trying to attack me with. The exact rune.
And for the listeners, what do you mean by when you say attack?
Oh, like the person was trying to use the rune to attack me.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, hex me or, curse me, or bind me to something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, if you get an answer, like, don't keep asking the question if you already got the answer. And so if I do one reading and I already get the answer, I don't need to keep asking questions. See, but it's different when you do rune readings. For example, okay? I was able to read cards without ever reading anything about the cards. You know what I mean? I was able to just do it by looking at them, and I would get results. And I never actually had anybody complain to me about my readings. My readings were always spot on and good. You know what I mean? I never had anybody negative. But then, like I've seen people out here like psychics and, stuff like that. And they're like, they'd ask questions, like, did you receive something from your dead uncle? And like the person's like, what the fuck? No. You know what I mean? Claiming to be psychic, but they can't actually figure out what's going on. And so basically, I actually have to study the runes to know what they mean. And unlike tarot cards, which I can just look at the image and interpret what's going on.
All right, I'm back. My bad. Tripping again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you catch anything I was saying?
Nah, I didn't. Like where it dropped off.
No. What I was saying is the difference between tarot cards and runes is I have to study the runes, what they mean. Tarot cards, if I'm using the normal deck, the rider deck, you know what I mean? I could just look at it, you know what I mean? And understand it. But like, so that's what makes it different. Certain divination methods you actually have to study, and certain you're natural at or you're not natural at. Okay. And I was saying how like I've never had anybody complain when I did a tarot card reading for them.
Yeah.
And I've seen people out here that were psychics, and they would ask, questions, like, did your uncle die? Did somebody close to you die? Did you get something from your uncle's possession? Like something inherited from him? And they're like, no. And it's like, I think you're lying to me. It's like, see, what I'm trying to say is like, sometimes, there's a lot of people out here that really don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. To say that I need a reading every time, though, nah, not always, man.
What about
because the spirit itself is a divinator of what you choose to work with, whether you want to work with God, Jesus, or the Virgin Mary, or a saint, or whatever God you want to work with.
Yeah.
It's a divinator in itself.
With the last question.
Yeah.
You think about computer generated divination, like tarot cards online, or like runes online. What do you think about that?
It's like going back to when I was saying just a few moments ago, how like you got to trust in yourself. it's like, okay, when you buy a witchcraft book, okay, yeah, of course you can learn something out of it, and it's going to make you feel good that you read it, but you're going to get the same exact feeling. I said this in one of my videos. You're going to get the same exact feeling if you go watch your favorite anime or your favorite movie. It's entertainment. So does entertainment have divination? I mean, I'll just leave it at I don't know.
I mean, like, if you're using divination for something serious,
and that's why I question the science of astrology as well.
Okay.
Because think about it, the phone, the clock could be entertainment.
Right.
The internet could be entertainment. That's why I question the science of it. So that's why I leave it at an I don't know. You know, if you watch, you know, the channel actualize.org, you know, with the bald headed guy, man.
Okay.
You know, it's like he talks about how, like, you know, science isn't always true. You know, like we come out with a study, for example, say like this is bad for you, but then one study says it's good for you. You know what I mean?
Right.
Food wise.
Yep.
It's like, for example, I was you know, when, you know, we're talking about this in the group, tobacco, the spiritual herb tobacco. You ever know if you have you been a smoker, a tobacco smoker?
Until I inhaled, I quit. So I smoked up until I learned how to inhale.
Yeah. Okay. So basically, when you smoke tobacco, you become irritated. You know what I mean? Or not irritated, but you know, like it does something to, like, you know, your what is it? Your nervous system. You feel it in your nervous system.
It makes me want to throw up. I get dizzy.
Yeah.
I get dizzy as shit.
What I'm trying to say is we could use tobacco because tobacco connects us to others to see when somebody's actually getting annoyed with us. You know what I mean? It's a good divinator to see how somebody feels about you. Tobacco.
So you would just burn the tobacco in the room and you see people's reaction. Because cigarettes make me fucking aggravated as fuck.
Or smoke it, yeah, or something like that. You know, people have smoked sage too. I wouldn't recommend that because sage has like some CO2 components, I think, or some kind of component in it which actually could really damage your lungs.
Wow.
But like, okay, so there was this article about how smoking cigarettes is like basically smoking a magical wand. You know, cigarettes has the power to control.
You sound like the person from the cigarette commercial right now.
Bring it up a little bit.
And they ain't had no throat. When I had the hole in the throat from back in the day, that's what you sound like now. The connection is getting.
Yeah, it's really broken up.
Yeah. That's just crazy you talk about that. You sound like a commercial. Yep. Yeah, but I can hear you go.
Yeah, it's really, yeah, you're really breaking up.
Oh, I'm breaking up too? Okay.
Yeah, it's like screeching.
All right, well, let me just get the hell on out of here, man. I've been on this motherfucker 3 hours.
Yeah, I can't understand.
So thanks for coming out, man. I appreciate it. And you're more than welcome anytime. Thanks for everybody for coming on tonight. Malak, that was on here tonight. Maggie Springfield and some questions. I forgot who y'all was and stuff. So get the fuck out of here. Gonna be goddamn what's fine the general.
Yeah, it's still broken up.
Oh, it's still broken up. Well, I'm about to hit the button to get on the fuck on out of here. I think it's on your end.
It's mine.
Yeah, I can't hear. All I can hear, it sounds like you're in a fishbowl. Sounds mad crazy. But yeah, I'm gonna get the hell on out of here. Killer be the goddamn witch finder general. You got a witch, I'll burn their asses up. I'm up out, y'all.